Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody, all around the world, hello and welcome to another episode of The Watchable with me, your host, Jean-Luc Welch. Thank you for tuning in and listening. Get excited, make some noise, clap it up wherever you are, in your house, on your job, don't matter, because this is the hottest place to be on the hottest show in all of the globe, right here on YouTube, on every podcasting platform imaginable. We're here, it's Friday, and we gotta end this week off with a bang, like we always do, covering the world of boxing and beyond, because it is the championship rounds for the entirety of the show. Yes, sir, yes, ma'am, yes, everybody who's listening and watching, it is your time to shine and have your voice be heard in the whole of the conversation, regardless of where you are, regardless of what you want to talk about. You have control of the floor. Now, yes, of course, we have agendas, we got plot points, we got things that we're going to touch on throughout the show. Absolutely, it's concrete stuff, but we can change in a heartbeat into this situation for the whole show based on what you all have to say. It's free reign to have your voice be seen and heard for the masses to witness and enjoy, to have your conversation be joined in by the global population. Yes, indeed, we're here and we are so happy that you're tuning in with us. If you are new here, hey, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Come on, come join the empire. Come be a part of this monolith, of this mogul developing framework that we're making together, and be a part of the hottest rising show in all of sports media and in all of the boxing landscape and beyond as well. Also be sure to hit the notification bell so you know whenever we post right here on YouTube, as well as just whatever we do with this channel going forward. Also, leave a like on the video and share the show with everybody that you know so we can keep on building up this empire. Yes, sir, together. All with you and your support, we can make it possible, and we can make this thing bigger, better, and grander, all with your support. Keep on watching, keep on listening, and if you want to support the show while we're waiting on my sedation, and let me tell you something, we are nearly there. Oh, we're going through the process, I'm telling you, trying to make sure stuff is great on the back end so we can really jump in like we want to, but we're almost there. But while we're waiting, if you want to support the channel, we got Cash App. Am I pointing in the right direction? I think, hold on, wait. My camera's lagging a little bit. I'm pointing in the right direction. There we go. We got Cash App, we got PayPal, we got links down below in the description if you would like to come and support the channel, all with whatever you can give to help pay the bills and also help to invest back into this show, to get equipment, to get guess whatever the word we can get with the money, to turn this show into truly the peak of entertainment, all with you and your support. I can't do this without you, and with viewers like you, we can truly grow to fit the moniker. Oh, we already are the hottest show in all the globe. We can better encapsulate that with your support, and it would mean the world to me. Absolutely. And I think that's about everything. Rate us 5 stars in our podcast on every podcasting platform, and I think that's about it. So hey, unless I'm missing something, I think we're good to go with the intro. So we got boxing to talk about. We got sports to cover. It is your landscape to have on display because it's the championship. Oh, also forgot, if you would like to give a chat, something in the chat section, have your voice be seen, hey, put it in the comment section and we can bring it up right here. Like with Unbiased Brim. Hey, brother, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show. We're so happy that you're here with us on today. Good afternoon, Buzz. Next move might be a hometown fight on at Cornhusker Stadium. We're going to touch on that. We're going to talk about that. And that's probably going to be the first topic of the day. But again, it's the championship rounds. So you all can talk about anything y'all want to for the whole of the show. And you all drive the conversation. So without further ado, we got sports to cover. We got boxing to delve into first and foremost. So it is time to step into the ring and specifically step into the championship rounds. Yes, sir. Let's get excited. Let's get it popping. Let's get it on. It's time for you all to make your voice be heard and make the show your own. But again, like we touched on with this chat from Unbiased Brim, first topic of discussion is indeed Crawford and what the next move is going to be. Now, yes, I know it's been roughly 3 weeks. 3 weeks since the Crawford fight. You got other fights like Benavidez versus Yard, like Brian Omer Jr. versus Devin Haney, Ben Rodriguez. You got David Picasso versus Anyway, all happening. We got a slew of things coming down the line for this year. I ain't forgotten about that. But it's important to discuss what's going to happen with Crawford specifically because he is at a point in time in his career, at a zenith rather, that he almost thought he would never get to from the standpoint of the business of boxing not giving him the opportunities that he deserved. Now he's there. And he's, for lack of a better word, he's the face of the sport at this point in time. We got to keep it real. We gotta keep it real. He is the current poster child of boxing is indeed Terrence Crawford. And now he's got opportunities laden in front of him to have places to go, people to see him, fights to make on his behalf at the drop of a hat, which is phenomenal. It's absolutely incredible. We love the report. And also, Love King, I see you as well. Appreciate you tuning in. How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you so much for tuning in to the show. Welch versus Pitbull Cruz should be a good one. We're going to talk about that. Again, look, are you all taking my plot point notes for this show? Because every time I'm about to say something, y'all bring up something I'm going to talk about later on. Because I got topics for days trying to see if we needed to fill space. Hey, we were going to fill some space. But doggone it, y'all beat me to the punch, dang it. Y'all beat me to the punch. It's terrible.
Hey, look at us.
I can't do my show.
We got some problems here.
I'm kidding. I'm just having fun. We're just having a laugh. I was going to touch on this as well. Welch versus Pitbull, getting into that fight now that, yes, it has been officially announced and agreed upon. That is going down. We will touch on that, absolutely. But beforehand, we need to touch on Terrence Crawford first in this championship rounds aspect. Somebody beat you to the punch for the topic of discussion. So we got to touch on that first. And so with that being the case, excuse me, Crawford, he's got a couple avenues. Now, will he fight at Cornhusker Stadium in Nebraska? Absolutely he will. Yes, he will. I promise you, it's going to happen. It's got to. At least somewhere in Nebraska. A hometown fight where he is at this zenith, yeah, it's got to happen. However, I don't know if it's going to be next. That's the issue. That's why I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be next. I do not think it's going to be next. Now, the reason why is not because, no, I don't think it should happen. It could happen against, let's say, Carlos Adames. It's not Carlos Adames. No, well, yeah, Carlos Adames at 160. Potentially, if he does indeed move down to 160, which, again, we are still up in the air about will he or won't he, what he is and is not going to do in the ring. But he could, if he does move down, he could fight Carlos Adames. Hypothetically, he could potentially stay at 168 if he so chooses and fights against the likes of Shiraz. Fights against the likes of Charlo, who were at 168. Though, again, I don't think Charlo has a chance at all. But still, he could fight him as a first title defense. Easy win. Yeah, we're talking about Charlo from the standpoint of where he's at right now with his talent. Easy win, handles his business, big name, decent, big money. Ain't gonna be what Canelo is, but big money. It could also be that he goes and fights Canelo outright. Now, we covered some of these topics before, but it's looking more likely that we could see a rematch on the horizon for Crawford and Canelo. Now, if that did happen, now we get into a situation where maybe that fight might happen in Omaha, Nebraska. That could be a fight. Now, hey. This is, because you gotta understand, this is a different situation than what we've seen from the normal flow of what Canelo does with his career. He's gotten usurped in the ring before, but this is different. This is where he's gotten usurped, and the star power and controlling power of Canelo has legitimately taken a hit and has been stolen by Crawford. Not all of it, be clear, not all of it, but some of it, enough of it, that now we have to look and say the landscape of where a fight can take place, where a rematch could happen, would it be in the control, per se, of Canelo Alvarez? And Canelo, at this point in time, outside of David Benavidez, the only fight that people are saying are worth him doing at this stage in his career, even on a downtrend, if it ain't Shiraz, which again he ain't got a belt to fight him, if it ain't Billy, which again he ain't got a belt to fight him, they're all gunning at the Crawford. If he wants to rematch, we'd have to go to his terms. And if Crawford did say, we doing this in Omaha, I came to your neck of the woods, Las Vegas, where you normally reign and rule, all that stuff, hostile crowd and whatnot. Though there were a lot of fans rooting for him, way more, thinking he was going to lose. We're going to take it back home. We're going to take it to home state. We're going to take it to where we reside. We're going to take it, we're going to bring it to Omaha. We're going to show Omaha some love, and more so put it on the map. We're going to turn this thing into a real big, we've arrived. We're here. This is my celebration now. That's what he can turn it into. And that would be incredibly interesting. That would be the most, I want to say most likely, but more so most enthralling endeavor if we saw a fight in Omaha, Nebraska for Terrence Crawford. And we saw it at Cornhusker Stadium. It could fit it. It's big enough. I guarantee you college campus would love to have that happen for the standpoint of monetization, money. If anybody knows about college athletics, the more money you can make, the better you can be. I guarantee you that. And plus, who's to say? Plus, who's to say that type of atmosphere wouldn't fit perfectly? Well, it would fit perfectly. I would say that would make sense. But again, while it seems like a scenario that would be pushed to happen, I don't think it will. More likely, we're going to find out in, a month or two, per word to Turkey Al Sheik and Terrence Crawford themselves. Because as I pull up the old picture right here real quick, they were saying, in terms of Crawford and Turkey, were going through, when he meet up, literally, most likely to get his paycheck from Turkey Al Sheik, but also to get them his gloves, but also talk about future plans. This is what he had to say as I pull it up right here for you all to witness. Give me 1 second to make sure that it's correct. Where is it? It's here somewhere. There we go. Yep.
This is the gloves. This is
Okay, I got it on mute. Okay. There we go. Okay, I had it on mute for a second. Here we go. Here's what he had to say.
the gloves of the champ. He gave it to me, and this is important gift from him. It's mean a lot to me. We do it. I like the logo.
Yeah.
Very, very beautiful logo. The champ, the champ have a lot of surprise for his city and for the future. He want to rest now for 1 or 2 months. Then we will tell you the surprise.
For sure.
So, there you go. From the man himself, they got plans for Omaha. They got plans for Nebraska. They got plans to put a big fight there. Out in, so, excuse me, I misspoke previously because I was supposed to. I misspoke. I meant to say that I would expect that to be the first fight to happen. Not that I wouldn't be. Again, like I said, I'm still drinking my coffee. My food still goes through my system. I'm still trying to get my energy, or rather, my focus right. So I misspoke. I apologize. I meant to say that I do expect that the first fight back would be in Nebraska. And it could happen early in January. Well, not January. Early in, what, March, April? Around that time, I want to say April, May. Because of the lack of real damage that got done to Terrence Crawford in that fight. I'll be fine with that. That would make sense to me. But if it doesn't happen, well, then there's another avenue. Maybe it ain't Canelo that goes and fights over there in Nebraska. But maybe it's at 160 with the new announcement of a unification fight down at 160 with Janibek Ali Muhammad and the ageless wonder in the likes of. I wish I had a drum roll, but I ain't got no drum roll yet. But I'll put it up on the screen right now. Lonnie Lara. That's right, the man who ceases to amaze and the man who ceases to essentially falter, because the brother's adapted his style from a plotter to an absolute knockout savant at 160. Now we're gonna see one of the oldest champions in the world who seemingly still got a bunch in the tank, going up against one of the most dangerous, lethal, absolutely destructive fighters at 160 in Janibek Ali Muhammad, who has been, let's be real, ain't been talked about by a bunch of people because a lot of folks don't want to mess with this cat, but he has been actively looking for somebody to come through, and he's been teasing that an announcement is going to be made. But now, looking like, I get per boxing scene, per again everything boxing, and per a couple of other sources closer to the situation than me, it's looking like, and I think also confirmed by Janibek's own social media, it's looking like we're about to get a unification. 3-belt unification. Oh, yes, indeed. Oh, yes, indeed. Oh, it's about to go down. It's about to go down. And again, if this report is true, happening to be the headliner of Isak Cruz versus Lamont Welch, which, again, as we touched on earlier, I think I had it here, has now been officially announced as well for or by the ring. That's going to happen at 140. It's, hey, 1, stat card. 2, looking like it's going to be in December. 3, this could set the stage for what we see for Crawford's next move in April, May. Potentially March, depending on how quickly they want to do the turnaround. But regardless of which, it seems like it would make sense. And I get it from a monetary standpoint. Yeah, you can't make more money than a rematch with Canelo. Absolutely. But mind you, I was saying, with legacy comes money. At all times with legacy comes money. And because of that, that means if he tries to go and become 4-time undisputed at 160, after doing it at 140, after doing it at 147, after doing it at 168, after becoming a dominant champion at 135 as well, all of a sudden he's reaching a stratosphere that nobody in boxing history from an accolade standpoint has done before, both in the 4-belt era and I think and beyond. This would be ridiculous. This would be insane. This would be, and against, hypothetically, if it's against Janibek, oh my gosh. You want to talk about fireworks, and if it's against Arizona and Lara, you want to talk about a technical war that also is filled with dominant power. Because again, Lara has evolved into a dangerous puncher. Oh, he's evolved into that old brother got some pop to him that we ain't never seen before. Don't make no sense. All of a sudden, this man stopped dancing. Next thing you know, this man's putting people out, putting people to sleep. Gone. Done. One here to quit his left, right, and center. It's ridiculous. Think his last, 4 or 5 fights have ended in a knockout. A lot of them by a straight-up counter shot that they just could not recover. It's insane. This fight specifically is going to be insane. But the whole of the matter, oh my goodness. You want to talk about the implications? They fight. Whoever wins, Crawford comes down, fights for the undisputed title, or fights for the unified title, then fights one more time for undisputed. Unified happens at Nebraska. Undisputed happens 1 fight later. Then afterwards, he can do what he wants at that point. But if he accomplishes that would be insane. But that is a road that I could see all made possible now by Janibek and Lara finally getting a unification that we've been waiting on for a very long time. Very long time in the world of boxing. This opens up the door. I said there were 2 ways that Crawford could come undisputed at 160. Either A, waits for everybody gets the belt, and then he goes through and cleans up. Or he goes one by one and takes everybody down. Seems like if this does indeed bode true, the latter is going to be the thing that happens. They get the belts, consolidate them, one person comes out of that fight, and then they're going to be talked about in the same breath as Crawford from the standpoint of our next potential opponent. That might be who we fight in Nebraska, if it's not Canelo outright in a rematch in Nebraska. That's what we can see. At least that's a game plan that I can see coming down the lane to the best of my ability. But I want to see what y'all have to say. Bobby777, what's going on, brother? How you doing, Bobby? Thank you for tuning in for you. Thank you for listening and coming on to the channel yet again. Let me see what you got to say. B-ball at 168. I don't know because I don't know if B-ball's going to come down. One, I don't know. We need to see how the back surgery is going to affect this brother. And two, does he ever want to come back down to 168? Mind you, he's got business, a lot of business at 175 right now. Look for the business at 175 right now. David Benavidez is turning into one of the hotter names in all of the sport, finally getting the respect that he deserves, which in turn is making him a legitimate money vendor for you to come and get some cash from. As well as if you beat him, hey, that turns you into a well and good a bigger star than you already are. And again, you beat Canelo. That would be insane. Without Benavidez is looking at 175. Incredible. I'm not saying you're a bigger star than Canelo. It will elevate you in the same way or similar way as it did when you beat Canelo. It would, but in this case, it's a full-fledged 175 pounder. Somebody who's running through the division. Yeah, that would be impressive. Also, Benavidez. Don't forget, he's still good. We still waiting on that fight. Because that's what you didn't. That's the whole reason you didn't fight David in the first place. Because you said you wanted to go after Benavidez for the undisputed, or at least for the unified title. Got to the point that you dropped the belt or had to relinquish the belt because you didn't want to defend it against David Benavidez, which is how David Benavidez became champion and now has one of the 4 belts in the division, with Bebo having the other 3. It's supposed to be that we see Artur Beterbiev and Bebo fighting against each other. However, now, with the injury, with the surgery, Beterbiev fighting Nicholson on the card of Benavidez versus Yard. Don't know if he's going to come back down. I'm not going to lie, I'd be kind of shocked. I would be kind of shocked. Because if it was before said surgery, maybe I could see that. But because it's after that back surgery, and brother, if you know about back surgery, the amount of stuff that will take out of you from the standpoint of athleticism and moving like you normally move, even if it goes right, is insane. Just look at Dwight Howard, for example. If you follow the NBA, one of the greatest defensive centers in the world. At one point in time was a top 5 player in the world in his heyday in the Orlando Magic. 3-time defensive player of the year. Multi-time All-Star. Should have been one of the best 75 players in NBA history when they made the top 75 list. Has just recently been inducted into the Hall of Fame in his first go-round. This man is one of the greatest big men in history. But after he got injured to his back, he was never the same. Whether he was on Houston, whether it was with Los Angeles, and whether it was with the Hornets, when he was dropping 30 and 20 and actually had somewhat of a decent resurgence with his production in his career, or with the Lakers in the last stint of his career when he won a title with LeBron, AD, and all of them in 2020. They never should have broke up that team. But again, whole nother conversation. He was never the same after that back injury. And you saw it as the years went on. He could still jump, still strong like an ox, but the fluidity, the explosiveness at that frame, the stiffness of his body started to get more and more. It was limited. Still knew what to do, but he couldn't do it in the same just imposing fashion. Because that injury took something out of him. He adapted no game, but still you saw the effects. Boxing, same way, especially with all the twisting and turning, slipping and ducking, bouncing in and out, all of that, it can change you. To the point that you can't go where you want to go. Or you got to stay where you are. And so I don't think he's going to come back down. I don't. If he does come back down and start entertaining Crawford, I would be incredibly surprised. I am not gonna lie. I would be incredibly surprised. Also, hold on 1 second. 1 second. Let me make sure that this thing is clean. Hold on, excuse me. I'm gonna spruce y'all up real quick because y'all looking, the camera's looking mighty dirty. At least for my own liking. Hold on a minute. Let me wipe that smut off your face, and I think we should be looking. There we go. See, you're looking pretty. I'm looking pretty. Everybody's looking good now. But we good to go. But again, being at 168, going back to the conversation, I got my hesitations of it. Let me see. Bebo said a couple years ago that he go to 168 to rematch with Canelo. You're absolutely right. It's just then and now, especially with health, a little bit different. So I don't know if his body at this point in time, even after recovery, can take dropping that weight like he would need to, even though it might not be as much. It might be manageable. Is he going to be able to do what he wants to do? We know Crawford can. Don't know about Bebo, again, because of the surgery. That's the issue. So that's why I'm hesitant. I would love to see that fight now. Be clear. That did come around the pipe. Brother, I'd love to see that. I would love to see that. Oh my gosh, I'd love to see that. But again, only time will tell. Let me see. Love King, I would love to see David versus Canelo. And the issue becomes where, or rather, will Canelo take the fight? You gotta understand, that's the biggest fight I want to see, period. Period. Out of everything. That's the biggest fight. Dare I say that's the only fight I want to see Canelo Alvarez fighting because it is such an enticing situation. You didn't want to drink my coffee, but it's such an enticing endeavor. It is such an impactful and entertaining fight. I need to put some more sugar in that coffee. I'm not gonna lie. It is not as. I did not put enough sugar in that coffee. That is a tad tart, if I may say. But I digress. It is the ball is in Canelo's court, but in a negative light. It's not. Normally we use that phrase, "the ball's in your court," from the standpoint of you're able. You got control of the situation. It's your time to make a decision. You can do what you want. But in this case scenario, it's a little bit different. The ball is in Canelo's court, but it's in his court with crunch time. He's down in the game. He's got a minute left on the clock. He got to make something happen to score, or else he's going to lose. And I say that to say, in this whole dichotomy of will Canelo ever fight David Benavidez, it's the issue of you had the ability to make the fight all with your control, all on your terms, all with everything at your disposal. However, now you still got the opportunity to say at the drop of a hat, I want to fight. But now everything about the swing of the game is out of your control now. You're coming from behind now. You're coming off a loss. The issues of your degrading ability as you're getting later into your prime have now been confirmed. You just got beat by somebody that came up 2 weight classes under you to fight you, who started out at 135 and absolutely washed you from the standpoint of boxing you to Kingdom Come, clingingly and rocking you. So you ain't got the legs to stand on that you used to have from an impenetrable standpoint of invincibility. And Benavidez has turned into the best version of the Mexican monster that we have ever seen before, and has now successfully separated himself from the shadow of you as a fighter. So now the only way you can fight this man is on his terms, in his domain, for his belt and or belts, depending on if he becomes undisputed, and at a disadvantage. But it's still the biggest test that you need to have. You got to make the decision, and now it's no longer an option. It's do or die. It's do or die. Honestly, it's going to be the only way to shut up a lot of the noise that we see with David Benavidez or that we see with Canelo, excuse me, right now, at least from my perspective. Because, yeah, if he beats him, Billy, phenomenal, a good win. If he beats Shiraz, a good win. If he beats Martinez, a good win. Now, Shiraz is probably the biggest, literally the biggest threat. Bill is, crazy enough, is actually bigger than David Benavidez. But that's the biggest size threat to Canelo. Absolutely. But on a talent perspective, we still see him, even though Crawford beat him, he's better than about everybody else in the division. Am I wrong? Still, even now. Still better than Plant. Still nobody's worried about Charlo fighting Canelo. Huh? And Billy versus Martinez was a great war against each other. But most likely with the way that they fought, even though it was phenomenal work, we would see Canelo not have that type of struggle going up against just somebody coming forward. He wouldn't. Because again, you can't, you got to beat him in a multiplicity of ways, which Crawford did. But just straight up physical on physical, Canelo is better than that. So again, good wins, but it won't shut up the noise of the sting of this loss. The only way to do that is to fight Benavidez. And again, it's now or never. And if you don't, you are going, like I said, your legacy is going to be hurt. Or rather, it's going to be stifled, stagnated, put on a plateau, hung out to dry as a symbol of greatness, but never able to elevate any higher in the rafters than where it's at right now because of this loss. Because like I said before, leading into this fight, if Canelo lost to Terrence Crawford, this would be a huge blow to his ability to get to the ranks of Mexican greatness that he feels he should be at, which is the greatest Mexican in boxing history. Now, some people have him as that, and I respect it. I don't. It's Chavez and Salvador Sanchez. But even still, he's in that top 3 conversation. Issue is, even with that conversation being had, you could not lose this fight. If you wanted to keep having that conversation, be valid and up here for you to be able to witness and enjoy and to be talked about in or eclipse said talking points. Because again, what you've done can never be undone. What you accomplished can never be unaccomplished. Your resume is still your resume, point blank, period. We can't speak against it. You're still Canelo. But now, this is where you are. This is where you stay. This is where you can't move up from without breaking through the ceiling of fighting the one man that can open that, at least crack the door back open to potentially having some way, shape, or form to still eclipse said greatness that's in front of you. And it has to be David Benavidez. Benavidez knows it. I know it. Assuming that you're listening here, you know it too. Because you've seen the complete shift in the talking points of Canelo Alvarez as a fighter after this fight. You've seen it. It's a shocking thing. I ain't gonna lie. But it's right now it's the valid truth of the matter. And this is where the likes of Benavidez is necessary. But it's all under the circumstances of, again, ball's in your court, but it is not in your favor. You're down in the game and you need this. Rather than just to keep on showing your greatness, to elevate even slightly, you need to make this shot. And you got to come back. And the comeback in this situation is you fighting David Benavidez without the lack of pressure. Because it used to be that everybody was saying Benavidez is too small of a name. He ain't really all that good. Y'all are hyping him up. Blah, 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 blah. X, Y, Z. You don't need to fight him. Canelo's too big. Canelo's too much of a mogul. What do you bring? Hold on. We good? Oh, wait. Oh. Are we good? Are we okay? Are we back in business? Hold on. We froze for a minute. We froze for a second. Oh, wait. Wait a minute. Time out. Hold on a minute. Wait. Somebody please chat. Are we back? Are we good? Are we moving? I'm trying to check my screen to make sure we okay. We good? Okay, we're good. Okay, we're good. Okay, we're back. Okay, thank gosh. We went. Oh God, thank goodness. Okay, Lucky, thank you so much. Oh, my heart dropped. Oh, I had made sure to do checks and balances on this thing so that we ain't running into no hiccups. Brother, I saw myself freeze, and I was like, oh no, here we go again. I can't. We're gonna have to go to the phone. We're gonna have to go to YouTube Live again. If this thing cuts out, okay, we're good. Thank gosh. Thank the Lord. We're good. What was I saying? Canelo, Benavidez. That's yeah. I thought it was yeah. You thought it was your idea, but hey, nah. We had a scare. We had a scare. But we're back now. Thank God we're back now. So, but just to finish off the thought, so we don't want to take too much. We still want to hear from you all. Still want to hear your opinions, your thoughts. But just to finish off the thought, as I was saying, to finish everything, the ball in Canelo's court used to be that he could have the game, take on the challenge without the pressure. But now that pressure is heaping on him it's on that man like white on rice. And he can't take this fight under the same implications that he could before this fight with Terrence Crawford. It would have been better for him if he had taken this fight under those circumstances. Because now, not only is it out of your control from the standpoint of you can operate like you want to, just because you're Canelo, with everything going the way you want it to go. Now, you got to fight in his territory for his belt, with him potentially being in this situation. Hey, but I'm undefeated. I never lost. I'm thriving in a division that you just couldn't handle, and I didn't get beat by somebody 2 classes under. He's going to try to, potentially he can hold that against him. It also potentially defend him. Ain't going to be on Canelo's side like it normally is. Especially what we've seen as time has gone on from the world of Canelo starting to dwindle amongst fans already. People getting hate. People starting to side with Benavidez. People starting to get more and more anticipatory of that fight, thinking Benavidez is going to win. And it was and again, I predicted all of this when I had said, like 2 years ago, the longer you waited out David Benavidez, the worse it was going to be for you if you didn't take the test now, while he was actively where he was at this level in boxing. Because at this point in time, he's eclipsed to a level that we're starting to say, especially now, hey man, you might not be able to beat that. I'm saying he's going to lose to Benavidez if he fights him, especially at 175. I was saying that at 168, but at 175, you doggone right I'm thinking he's going to lose to the likes of Benavidez. Absolutely. Especially at 175, because this is a weight class that Canelo, again, cannot fight the same way anymore. All the issues that we thought potentially Canelo or Terrence Crawford would have going into the fight. Now the issues that Canelo is facing if he tries again at 175. Because it happened when he fought against Bivol. Or Bivol. I need to make sure I'm saying his name correct. And so you messed up. Hey, you messed up.
Hey, look,
you shot yourself in the foot.
We got some problems here.
You shot yourself in the foot. And now it's again, by force or by choice, you gonna have to face him. And now it's by force now. It's by force now. The consequences of you not fighting him now are going to be even more greater because you chose to say he was worth nothing. And then as he became something, you lost in one of the biggest fights of your career. And we're not holding this as a ha-ha type of moment. But this is exactly why we said go on and do it now. Because, brother, if you wait with where we're seeing your career go, in terms of where we're seeing your talent go, you better not talk about this man like he ain't nothing. And you better handle your business now. Because if you wait around to finally fight this brother when he's worth your time, you can't beat him. You can't beat him. And it's looking like that's the case right now. It's looking like that's the case right now. But again, that's just my humble opinion. I want to hear from you all on what you had to say on the matter. Absolutely, it is still the championship rounds. It's still the championship rounds. We still want to hear from you about everything going on in the world of boxing and beyond. Your thoughts, your opinions, your takes, all that stuff. We want to hear from you and have your voice be heard on this show. The whole show is controlled by you all today, as it is every single Friday. Your chats, your thoughts, your debates, your questions on whatever you want to discuss, we talk about it right here on the show every single week, as well as we do shows 3 days out the week, as well as we cover fights. The bigger fights of the year we do live streams. So hey, we appreciate you all coming here. Please keep on liking the stream, keep on sharing the show, and keep on enjoying all the entertainment and engaging. And we're gonna go to the next topic of discussion, which is while we're waiting on your more of your questions to come into play, we can touch on now the topic of, I think that Love King brought up earlier on in the show, which was Isaac Cruz versus Lamont Welch. Yeah. We can touch on that now. We need to talk about that because this is an endeavor that is indeed very much interesting for the world of boxing because this is going to be a litmus test. It's going to be a litmus. This is going to be a litmus test. It's going to be a real litmus test for the framework of what we're going to see from Lamont Welch, not just going forward, but also for the validity of that fight with Tank Davis. Now, I've seen some other people say the same thing. And at first, I didn't buy into it. Some people were saying that the likes of Tank and Lamont Roach, was it a one-hit wonder? Was Lamont Roach always that good? Now, again, when I studied film, I did not see him as all that good when he fought Tank, especially coming up from 130. I was like, nah, he ain't got a chance. Even if he is good, he ain't got a chance. Proved me wrong. Shut me up. Shut everybody up that said he wasn't gonna do anything against Tank Davis. I ain't got no issue being wrong, and we're happy about that. But now he's moving up again to 140 after only one fight at 135. That I did not expect. I didn't expect that at all because I was wholeheartedly thinking that this man was going to try to get a shot against the Schofields, the Masons, the Shakurs, and the other threats at 135 to become a champion there at that division. Because again, he was, and still is, after that win, one of the biggest names between 140 and 135. Amongst the likes of Tio, Ryan Garcia, Abdullah Mason, Floyd Schofield, Keyshawn Davis, Shakur Stevenson, he is also firmly in that mix for a recognizable and prominently dangerous name that people want to see. So it may not. I'm not gonna lie. It took me back a little bit. He's already moving up to 140. So trying to get those with some of those cats to take over the division if he feels he's really that good. But hey, if he's moving up to fight Eastside Cruz, look, I ain't got no problem with that. It's gonna be a good fight. Let's be clear about that right now. That's gonna be a good fight. That's gonna be a good. We're gonna have some problems. We're gonna have some problems because that's gonna be a good fight. That is gonna be an absolute dogfight from the standpoint of a one-track mind and physicality versus a person who's been able to fight up to the level of one of the greatest talents in the world, who also in Eastside Cruz, and that one's in terms of Lamont Roach, who fought up to Tank's level and in my opinion beat him. But Eastside Cruz gave Tank also one of the hardest fights of his career. And so I'm thinking this is really gonna prove if he's about this life or not from the standpoint of a great talent. Or if it was just he was good against him, but on the whole, might not be where he needs to be. Now, Isaac Cruz is a one-dimensional fighter. I can't say that definitively. He is a one-dimensional fighter. But you know what he's going to do. Come in, walk you down, and for at least 10 rounds before he gets tired, he's going to throw full force hooks like you've never seen before. You're going to feel the wind against your face, and you're going to feel the threat of a knockout happen every time out. This man is going to load up with everything he's got every time. And crazy enough, he can do it. Because he can do it. And he can do it sharp, too. Oh, yes, he can. He's been outboxed, absolutely. But again, everybody's fought this but knows, even if you are able to get out the way, even if you can move around against him, you still are inevitably going to get caught. So it's going to be interesting to see how Lamont Welch handles this type of fight, because it is going to be an absolute war. I guarantee you about that. But the biggest thing is, can he handle him in the same way that we saw the likes of a Tank, or even an El Rayo try to handle him? It ain't going to be no mid-range fight. Ain't going to be no come through and the pressure won't get to me. Nah, you're going to be pressured. It's going to be interesting to see from a game plan perspective. Though it is, again, a one-track mind, how Lamont Welch handles somebody just straight up putting their head down, walking you down, and he will never relinquish the forward momentum. He won't. Tank was fighting on the back foot. Don't forget that. Tank was fighting on the back foot against Isaac Cruz. Yes, he hurt his hand in that fight, but even still, I think even before he hurt his hand in the middle of that fight, he was fighting on the back foot because Isaac Cruz would not stop moving. In that short, stocky frame, with only the top of his head being exposed because of the fact that, doggone it, he's a walking turtle, literally. He takes Canelo's catch and shoot style to the extreme. Hey, forget head movement. He just curls up in his shell and will walk you down, and then boom, and then boom, and then boom, and then go back. That's it. Talk about Mini Mike Tyson. He is, we won't call him Mini Mike Tyson. He is the late day version of Mike Tyson. No head movement. No slipping. Just straight up blocking. Imagine Winky Wright if he was more aggressive. Though again, the defense is not nearly as polished, but just walking you down like this, you can't do nothing to me, and then just exploding with power. That's what Isaac Cruz is. It's an insane style, but it's so fun to watch. But it makes everybody that has fought him has had a tough time. Everybody. Now, Lamont Welch is sitting on the inside in the pocket. He can't handle that. He can't. He crazy enough. If he's calling Tank too small, he could probably see Isaac Cruz as having the same issue of, he's too small to do anything with me. Even though, again, the power of Isaac Cruz is phenomenal, just like with Tank. So you can see the same pitfalls being still available for him to be able to do what he wants to do in this ring. But even still, it is going to be one of the biggest litmus tests for Lamont Welch to validate exactly what he is in the world of boxing. One-hit wonder or straight up real menace that is worth the hype that we all, crazy enough, neglected up until that fight with Tank Davis, because we didn't think it was going to be anything. And most people don't care about fighters below 130. So it's going to be an interesting endeavor, because you have to understand, with this fight, depending on how it comes out, the other names in the vicinity now, they get stiff for the likes of Lamont. Now you're dealing with Keyshawn Davis potentially you got to fight next, who's knocked out 168 pounders, who is bigger than you. Yes, he is. And stronger than you. Yes, he is. Now you're dealing with people like Teofimo Lopez at 140. If he hasn't moved up to 147 already, Teofimo Lopez at 140. Looking the way he's looking right now. Who is bigger than you, who's stronger than you, who's better than you. He is. You're dealing with even with Ryan Garcia, even though, yeah, Ryan Garcia from a technical perspective ain't the same. The size difference and the speed difference, that's going to be something that, hey, can give you that, it can give you some work. It is a threat. Even though how we see Ryan Garcia right now, it is still a threat. You have, if you fluctuate between 135 and 140, now you're dealing with Shakur for real. You beat Isaac Cruz, now you got credentials you already had credentials because of what you did to Tank, but you got even more to be in line for the other titles at 135 if you so chose to move back down. You're in the ring with a bunch of real killers and a couple of contenders that I didn't even bring up. If you gonna be successful and you want to make us believe, okay, yeah, this is really worth the hype, and you what we think you are. Because notice, we ain't talked about him against everybody else. We said we said he should have beaten Tank. And we said he'll beat Tank. We ain't talked about him against everybody else. So this performance is gonna set the groundwork for the real true identity of Lamont Roach going forward. Whether or not he's really the truth, whether or not he was just a one-hit wonder that was able to beat that one guy. But everybody else might not be the same thing. Might not. We're going to have to wait and see. We really will. But again, I still want to hear your thoughts and opinions on the matter. Excuse me real quick while I hydrate with something to drink. Well, hold on. You know what? The more this thing sits, the better it tastes. Crazy. The more that coffee sits, the better it tastes. I drank it hot. I drank it medium hot. Now I'm drinking it warm. I don't know why the flavor ain't coming until it cooled down. But brother, now that's a good cup of coffee. Okay, all right. You know what? I got it right. It just didn't come through. I don't know why. Maybe I might wait till this thing gets cold. I might just turn this into an iced coffee. I'm not gonna lie. I might just wait to turn this into an iced coffee. I might just sip on this and wait around. After the show, you're gonna see me rattling ice and all that stuff in a big Starbucks cup. Add a little bit more creamer, some caramel on the inside. Maybe some a little not mocha. I was gonna say a little chocolate shavings to help diversify the flavor. Oh yeah, I think I got some. I think I have some. But let me start talking about my coffee dreams and whatnot. I still want to hear from you all on the show and see what you all got to say. Because again, it is still the championship rounds. I want to hear what you all got to say. I still want to hear your voices, your opinions, and all the stuff going through in the landscape of your thoughts on the boxing landscape and or beyond. Like I said, this whole show is controlled by you, the viewer. In fact, real quick, while we have a slight break in the action for the standpoint of talking points, let me do a quick search to make sure that I'm okay for everything. We had a scare. We had a scare when it comes to the stream all of a sudden cutting out, but I was horrified. I was sick. I was about to say, I thought we all of a sudden conked out again and we were getting ready to have to transfer over to the phone. Let me take a quick second to make sure that we all good on the live end right now, so we can be everywhere with that we need to be. Cause Lord knows I'm not about to have a situation where y'all are saying, "Oh man, this buddy got a problem every week." We ain't having that. No. We're gonna edit and update on the fly. Whatever we need to do, I guarantee you right now. Hold on, we almost done. I'm just trying to. What's it called? Coding? I can't even think of the word. But I know what I'm doing though. Okay, I think we got connections great. We're good to go. Thankfully. All right. We're back in business. Yes. So back to the topic again. It's the championship round. Let's see what you all got to say still on the matter. And let's keep on continuing with the dominant entertainment that we're giving you on this Friday afternoon. Please keep on sharing the show. Keep on liking the stream. If you haven't subscribed already, come on and subscribe. And please, if you want to give us support to the channel, while we're waiting on monetization, yes, people will do super chats and whatnot. But while we're waiting, we got Cash App. We got PayPal. We got links down below in the description if you would like to come and support the channel. Anything we'll do if you can give to help us pay bills and help us to make sure that we do invest back into the show, make it bigger and better and grander, all for you all to enjoy. No question about it. But let me keep on reading your thoughts and opinions. Let me see. JK, I'm trying. Is it Jasinski? I think that's how you say it. If I'm saying it wrong, I do apologize. But regardless of which, how you doing? Thank you for coming back. I'm so glad that you're here. Let me see what you got to say on today. Lamont trying to take. Lamont trying to take. Lamont. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Wait. That was horrible. Let me. Hold on. Let me. You get some liquid in me. Let me hydrate. Try that again. Lamont trying to take an interim. Let's see if Pitbull will put up a fight for that belt. And Lamont is the excellent boxer. He has good defense and moves with shots. I think he wins this belt. Also, JK is fine. Okay, I appreciate. Okay, so we got it. So I can call you JK. And it should work just fine. Thank you very much. Now, with this is interesting. It's interesting because you're right. You're absolutely right. But how do we say this? There's two issues that come up that I'm a little bit concerned with Lamont. One, moving up in weight. Already, 135, 140 after only one fight at 135. Yes, it was against Tank. Yes, you should have won that fight against Tank. But still, how you gonna handle that level of power at 140? Yes, but if you can take Tanks, then you can take Eastside Cruz. Okay, fine. I'm with you there. But the second thing is the mentality of Eastside Cruz is gonna push you to either elevate or not. And by that I mean, one of the biggest issues with Tank Davis when we fought Lamont Roach, when he got pushed back against by Lamont, when Lamont was able to take it to him, when Lamont was able to come through and actively, hey, your power ain't hurting me. And guess what? I can trade back with you better than you can trade with me. When that happened, Tank's mentals changed. He wasn't able to adapt because like he normally does, when the first 4 or 5 rounds, downloads the game plan of the opponent, goes through and tries to dissect what you are, your weaknesses, and then he ends his whole game plan. It's not to win rounds, it's to knock you out. He'll lose the first half of the fight to knock you out in the later rounds because with the perfect punch, because he's downloaded everything he needed to figure out the one way to put you to sleep. When he tried that with Lamont, just like in the fight, he lost the first 4 to 5 rounds. Started to try to come on strong and fight Lamont. But when after round 7, it didn't work. He wasn't able to put him down. He was not getting the better of set exchanges. And Lamont was taking control. As Tank tried to elevate, Lamont also elevated. It became, Tank was stuck. And to a degree, yes, he was still fighting, but you saw the mentality and you saw the facial expression. You saw the body language change, shift. Eastside Cruz don't have that problem. Yeah, he ain't nearly as good as Tank, but it is hey, yo, I'm going to keep on pushing. And you are not going to be able to stifle what I want to do to you. That's where I'm really interested to see from Lamont Roach. Going up against a brother with that type of mentality, I want to see how Lamont Roach fares Let's like with every fight with Isaac Cruz, you can do everything right against Isaac Cruz, and you still get tagged and wobbled at least once, twice, more so multiple times. If we're being completely honest. Even when El Rayo beat him, he was still getting tagged hard because Isaac just would not quit. He just wouldn't stop coming forward. Everybody's tried to box with him. Everybody's tried to bang out with him. Most of them, except for like 2 or 3, went down, couldn't win, and got outworked because Isaac was just literally so hard-headed. And it brought something different out of fighters. And it did something to him. Lamont, against that, I'm interested in seeing. We've seen him against the talent. Now I want to see him against the mentality. Because he's that kind of mentality. He can upset a lot of people. Mind you, I was saying that Rolly was going to get knocked out by Isaac Cruz. Some people said that Rolly would give Isaac Cruz a really good run for his money. But Isaac Cruz was so dominant in that fight, Rolly was running scared. Rolly was looking the same way he looked against Barrosos, but this time he could not get away, and he knew it. A one-track mind can be a beautiful thing as much as it can be a detriment. In some situations, brother, like for him, it works. And it's gonna be interesting to see what he can do. Yeah, he can sit in the pocket with him. He can counter him the king to come, absolutely. I think Lamont Roach is going to win. Yeah. But he's gonna be tested. I guarantee you that. I promise you that. He's gonna be tested. I guarantee you that. And what's he gonna look like with that test? That's gonna be interesting to see. But I'm excited for it. I really am. I really am, man. I can't wait for it. But let me keep on reading. Sebastian Fundora champ at 154. I would like to see Bud go down and take those belts from him. That would be an interesting fight. It would. It really would. See, here's the thing. At 154, that is too steep of a drop, I think, for Crawford. I really think that's too steep of a drop. Now, if it was 160 that he fought Canelo, okay, I could potentially see that. But mind you, if you saw the interview with Terrence Crawford, after Errol Spence, when he realized, okay, hey, I can beat Canelo, because he said himself to Andre Ward, after he realized I can beat Canelo, okay, yeah, Bill Haney's right, I can make this a goal of mine. Guess what he said? No, I'm done with 154. I'm done with 147. I'll get a belt at 154. Absolutely. But I'm going after him specifically. And that's my main goal. And we now know that's where he resides the best. And this was a full year of training camp of being able to let his body fully fill out and build up that muscle that he wants to operate in the way that we've seen him operate. To the point that he can out-muscle the likes of Canelo, which is insane. Mind you, he's had this physical freak of nature. He's been this. But it was, again, constricted under weight classes. Once it got to fill out, it spoke for itself. You saw what he was able to do against Canelo. But if he takes that same body that he took a year to allow to mold out, to allow to fill out, and then fine-tune to be ready at 168 in the fullest capacity, if he drops down immediately from 150 to 154, it is going to be another Roy Jones situation. It's going to be another Roy Jones. And I hate that. Because, trust me, I was saying I wanted to see him go down to 154 and run through the ringer of talent that's there. I wanted to see him run through the ringer. Boachuk, Keith Thurman, Tim Sue, he already beat Magimov. Bakram Murtazaliev, Boots Ennis, Virgil Ortiz. I want to see all that. I would love to. I wanted to see all of it. Because like I said, it was the deep. It is one of the deepest divisions from a threat level perspective in the whole of the boxing world. And every fight from fight number 1 to number 8, all would be phenomenal wars if Crawford fought against any of them. But it is too steep of a drop for him to be able to make comfortably. That if he does, and he goes down there, Can he make it? Sure, he can make it, but he won't be the same. And especially with the perceived concerns of the continuing career of Crawford. People have been saying you should not fight again. Retire. Quit. Go out into the sunset. You don't want to ruin your legacy with a loss. Though again, his legacy set in stone. A loss would not hurt it because it already is what it is. A win would be impactful for it. But if you can achieve more, go out and achieve more. I'm all up for that. But even with that being the case, you can't have those concerns. Which, if that's how you feel, that's valid. Fine, go ahead. But you can't have that concern of you don't want him to, of you wanting to retire and not blemish his legacy and go out on a mountaintop. But then say if he does continue, put him in a situation where he would be more inclined to have the very danger that you don't want to happen to him, which would be dropping to 154 and trying to make weight. Not because he couldn't, but because he's potentially stripping muscle. And stripping fat versus stripping muscle, it ain't the same. You strip muscle, you're never the same. If you lose muscle, do the weight cut, you're never the same. You're never the same. You're never the same. No matter if you move back up or back down, you'll never be the same guy again. That's what's going to happen. So that's why I'm like, don't move down to 154. I dare say let people come up to 160. Fight people at a catch weight if that's the case. You can do it. Other fighters did it. And it's been fine. In this case, it wouldn't be an excuse. It would be because all the fights that we want to see from you, we don't want to risk you being bad, but they still being at their best. So guess what? You put a middle ground. That makes sense for where you are in your career right now. I get it. But don't go down to 154 because even though it's enticing, he is more inclined to lose because it can potentially be a very big detriment to his physical ability to be the dominant specimen and intellectual talent that we know he is in the ring. Because then he could have the intellectuals, but his body can't do what it wants to do when it needs to do it, though he knows what to do. We've seen that before, and that can be a bad recipe. It can really be a bad recipe. It can be horrible. Lamont needs a blueprint to Jose Ramirez fight with Pitbull. He does. Now, I also need to ask, not Ramirez, I'm sorry, Jose Valenzuela. That's right, yeah, Valenzuela. I say Ramirez by accident. I'm trying to think. Well, actually, he can do better than Valenzuela. He can do better than Valenzuela. You know why? Because Valenzuela, again, that fight was a good fight, but man, he had to really work to get that win, and it was deserved. But it was because he could not trade with Isaac Cruz. And the danger of those counter windows that he was taking advantage of, he was still slipping up or getting the worst of them at times because, even with the movement, the sharpness of Isaac Cruz's hooks can still beat out most people. Lamont Welch, I think because of the way he fights, can do what Valenzuela did, but at the same time have a better outing in being able to trade with and counter the likes of Isaac Cruz. Because his punches are more shorter. They're more direct. They're not as looping per se as Valenzuela. Now, I can't remember if he's as tall or as lengthy from the standpoint of reach as Valenzuela, but I do know that he's got enough that he can take on that same game plan. So you're right. But I think he can implement it better. Now, he won't be able to move around the ring the same way. Be clear on that. He ain't moving the same way that Valenzuela moved. He ain't moving that way. He isn't moving around the ring with fleet of foot like Valenzuela when he fought against Isaac Cruz. That's not happening. But what is happening is it'll be a situation where I can see Isaac Cruz, again, having Lamont fight on the back foot, But instead of it being the very much, step around, turn you around and reset type situation, it's a more so Lamont engages, stands his ground, and then at times back up. Let Isaac Cruz walk him back. And then boom, counter. And in this case scenario, because it might be the same situation where he's bigger, clinch, turn, and then go to work. Still in the pocket, but now at an advantage where Isaac can't get that same forward momentum of being able to step in and hook. Now, it's still dangerous. He can still, from stationary, this buddy can still crack you, can still rock you. Oh, he can still put you down. But he can, Valenzuela took the fight in a fleet of foot manner. Lamont Welch can take this fight by a force of strength. I was going to say force of will, but more so force of strength. A show of force. That's the phrase. A show of force. Valenzuela took it by a great example of great quick footwork, quick turns, and being evasive. Lamont can take this fight by being just an outright physical, dominating person. By engaging, gaining respect, and then walking Isaac into counters. And when you get to the ropes, you don't try to get out the way by stepping. You clinch and turn. You physically control that brother. And then you go to work. And you keep him there. He can do that. If he can do what he did to Tank, he can definitely do that to Isaac Cruz. Again, it's still dangerous, but he can do it. And so that's where I would take the same idea of countering and turning Isaac Cruz that Valenzuela did. But I'd do it in a different way if I was Lamont, because of what he's got that Valenzuela didn't have, which was A, potentially a better chin. Looks like now, a better chin, and B, more physical power and punching power. He can afford to take some of those physically demanding chances. He can dog it out with the likes of Isaac Cruz in a way that Valenzuela couldn't, even though Valenzuela won. That's where this fight gets really interesting. That's where it gets really interesting. That's what I want to see in this fight. And honestly, let me see. My point of mentioning Jose Valenzuela, because he really kept a distance with Pitbull. If Lamont does that, then it's over. But I don't think Lamont's going to keep the distance. And if he does, it's not going to be in a I don't think it's going to keep the distance in the same way, because Valenzuela did it in a defensive posture, which it's not bad. But that's not Lamont. That's not Lamont. Valenzuela kept his distance in a defensive avenue. Be safe, shell up, be sure to get out the way, counter when the opening is there, but then make sure you get out of dodge. And you do the dance over again. Use your length with your jab. When you get on the ropes, you lean back and all that stuff. Do everything defensively responsible to take away the steam out of Isaac Cruz's punches. Let him punch himself out by making him miss a lot and then making him pay when you can. He did it. It was a great game plan. But that's not how Lamont Welch thinks. That's not what suits him as a fighter the best. So it's a valid thing to bring up, but it's just got to be done in a different way. Lamont Welch has to be defensively aggressive. That means you're still trying to aim for the counters. You're still trying to make your opponent make mistakes, and you're still trying to be safe, but you're not using your defense to get out of dodge only. You're using your defense now to cause your opponent to succumb to damage by doing, again, active countering, by actively looking to take whenever there's a chance to more than just whenever there's a chance to take advantage of a counter. You make a counter open. You make an opportunity. And you also impose more offensive aggression that equates to more mistakes. That's what Lamont Welch is more inclined to do, because stylistically, it happened with Tank. What did he do when he fought Tank? He went through, and he didn't just elevate his game as Tank elevated his game as well. He went through, and he was still defensively doing all the right stuff, but he was actively looking to cause Tank to make mistakes. And he was aggressive in trying to capitalize on what Tank was doing. He wasn't being defensive. I just got to get out the way and then reset. Every time he was defensive, he was looking, okay, what can I do now to capitalize? Clarence Crawford did against Canelo. If we want to go back and forth with other older fighters, shoot, Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier did it for his entire career. Aggressive defense. Some of the greatest head movement that boxing has ever seen, genuinely, was from Joe Frazier. Because of that bob and weave style, it was a rhythm. It was a song and dance that nobody else knew except for him. And it looked so awkward. But if you go watch this brother, yeah, sure, he would eat shots. Yeah, because he had one of the greatest chins in boxing history. But guess what? He also wasn't getting touched as much as you would think. Because this man was legitimately slipping shots left and right. In some cases with his hands down. As he's walking forward. And then every time, slip, boom, left hook. Roll under, uppercut, 2 hooks to the body. Get you on your shoulder. Change head slides. Hook to the head, hook to the head. As he's on your shoulder, duck down, knowing a punch is coming. Without even looking, boom, duck. And then boom, come up with the hook again. He could do that all the time because he was that special, but it was aggressive defense. It was aggressive. Mike Tyson, aggressive defense. Mike Tyson's greatest strength wasn't his power. It was his speed and his defense and his technique as a whole, but more so his ability to make you miss and make you pay, but making you miss by applying pressure. He was an aggressive counterpuncher. A tactic normally held for only defensive attributes turned into an offensive weapon. Made you scared to throw. And then he could just throw because you weren't throwing. And if he did throw, he'd make you pay even worse. So it was a pick your poison, but it was built off the backs of that peekaboo style, which was, I am defensively sound, but I'm using my defense to make an opening to take you out. Instead of just being defensive just to stay safe. Neither of which is bad. Understand, I'm not saying one is better than the other. For every Mike Tyson and Joe Frazier, you got a Floyd Mayweather and Pernell Whitaker. I understand. We love all styles. But every style don't fit the same brother or sister the same way. And it works better if you apply the same identity, but in a different persona. For Lamont, the same identity of countering and being defensive against Eastside Cruz can work just like it did against Valenzuela, but it is the persona of said identity that shifts and changes. And that can make it better. Think about it. When we say personas, again, I'm a big wrestling fan. You got a bunch of people in wrestling. Bray Wyatt, for example. But it was Bray Wyatt, and then he was Bray Wyatt, the cult leader. Bray Wyatt, the Firefly Funhouse dude. And then Bray Wyatt, the Fiend. The same man still kept the same moveset throughout all 3 personas. But each persona brought out a different aspect of the wrestler. That was Bray Wyatt. One was more methodical, brooding. The other one was more so unpredictable, whimsy, Firefly Funhouse, but still unsettlingly destructive and on edge. And then the Fiend one, the third one, was a man who was just in complete dead silence, but was unable to be hurt. And was nothing but straight up violence and brute force power with no conscience at all. Coupled with psychological warfare. Feeding on the mind, the literal mind of the opponent. as well as the body. Same person, similar fighting style across all three personas, but done in a different way that accentuated a different aspect that made each persona dominant for different reasons. One wouldn't have worked for the other, but it worked for a different one. That's what it is. So it's good. It's good. Didn't win the Wyatts. Passed away. Yeah, sadly, it was Bray Wyatt that passed away. I think it's been, what, 3? I want to say it's been 5 years. I want to say it's been 5 years. It's been 5 years or 3 years. One of the two. Or maybe even longer. But not, yeah, it's Bray Wyatt himself. Son of IRS. Mike Rotunda. And he passed away suddenly after he had just returned to wrestling. Also, how you doing, Green Hill? Thank you for tuning in. We're so glad you're here. But yeah, and again, we're still talking boxing, but just as a quick, this side note, because I love wrestling as well, as I'm into a bunch of different things. But yeah, Bray Wyatt suddenly just passed away. I think it was of a heart attack, or no, I think he had a heart issue over the years that I think it was with him, I think his whole life or most of his life. Not because he was too overweight or whatever, it was just a condition. And he had a scare, everything looked good. He left wrestling for a couple years because the business was terrible, genuinely. Everybody wanted him to come back. He finally comes back, revamps his whole persona, revamps everything. Again, the intelligence and the genius of him as a developing character was so inspiring. It was so incredible. He did stuff with characters that we didn't think was possible from a psychological standpoint. It was ridiculous. The world building around just him. Forget the rest of the WWE world, just him. To a degree, it almost was like the rest of wrestling was bending, at least in WWE, was bending to what he was creating. And fused with John Cena. Perpetuated how he was a version of Hulk Hogan. Are you really your own person? Or are you just another fixture of a bygone era and a part of the system? And you trying to feign like you some underdog, but you actually are the biggest thing that you hated. A giant. You are the man to beat. Act like it. He brought that out. This stuff with Daniel Bryan. This stuff with Randy Orton. That tag team titles. World heavyweight champion. World championships. Heavyweight and just WWE outright. Insane. And he was about to go on one of the greatest runs when he returned. Because the love was back. And the fans missed him dearly. And then goes through Bray Wyatt, brings back Firefly Funhouse, creates The Fiend. Incredible. And right when stuff was getting ready to pick up, gone. Just like that. Just like that. Heart gave out. Just unexpectedly. And it was the biggest loss since Eddie Guerrero. For if you were around when Eddie Guerrero sadly passed away, it was the biggest loss since Eddie Guerrero passed away. Still to this day, it still hurts. It hurts. It hurts a lot. Because he had so much to give. He had so much he could have done. He would have been on John Cena's retirement tour that he's on right now. If he was still alive to this day, it would have been perfect. Perfect if that took place. He would have been with the whole Rock, sell your soul, turn on Cody Rhodes and all that stuff. He would have been the guy in his ear telling him to revel in what you are. Be the menace. Be the giant. Be the unstoppable force that you know you're supposed to be. Forget being humble. Forget the fans. Win. And destroy whoever's in front of you. But that would have been so good. That would have been so good if it had taken place. But again, sadly he passed away before that could ever come to fruition. And so it's a sad thing. It really is sad. And not to go on a tangent, I do apologize, but it's just I went through all. I lived through all this. I was there when it happened. I was there when the news broke. I think I was in school. Oh, man. No. I wasn't in school. I was back here at home. It happened. It was, oh, gosh, it would have been insane. It would have been insane. I agree. He would have been one of the top stars. Yeah, no, he would have. He would have. It would have been, it would have been him. Most likely, I dare say it would have been him. I could see him in a storyline with Damian Priest. I could see him in a storyline with Drew McIntyre. All the times that Drew has tried and failed to win and or keep the WWE Championship. I could have seen him with I could have seen him with a stint against Gunther. Oh my gosh, it could have been insane. It could have been ridiculous. I hate that he's gone. It's a shame. But let me keep on reading. El Guapo, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show. So glad you're with us on today. Mexican Monster coming to town, amigo. Yes, he is, and I wanted to touch on more than Anthony Yard versus Benavidez. Again, as the months the month winds down, and as that fight gets close, we are going to discuss that fight even more. We've talked about it a lot over the course of the last couple of weeks, but for Benavidez specifically, what I did have as a point of contention was Benavidez's legacy. Yeah. Genuine. As we're getting back into the boxing world again, whether it's wrestling, sports, movies, anime, TVs, NBA, NFL, all that stuff, we can talk about it right here. Championship rounds, it's your time to shine. You all can say whatever you want to say, and we can talk about it and debate it. You all help make the topics for this show like we do every single Friday. But there's also Teddy Burkshot. What's going on with you? Hey, brother, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show. Yes, sir. We are back. We live. We here on this Friday afternoon. We appreciate everybody coming through. We're getting ready to talk about the Mexican Monster right now and his legacy, because more than just the fight itself, I wanted to talk about the aftermath now of his career as a whole and what his legacy can be post Canelo Crawford. And essentially, is there now an open door to reach the zenith of, hey, this man is at the top now. For when he wasn't able to do it, for when he was essentially forced into his shadow due to not just Canelo's popularity, but a lot of people not believing that he was really all that. Is there a point in time that we could see? Benavidez, he's what? He's 20. How old is he? How old is David Benavidez? Real quick. David Benavidez is he 28? Hold on. I'm looking. Hold on. Where's his brother's age? Okay, yeah. Benavidez right now is 28 years old. And already has, I think, 30 fights in his career outright. With Canelo's career winding down now, and he is already reaching this heights at the zenith of this point in time with his career, depending on if he stays around for longer than 33. Is there a possibility that we can see this man have a more robust career, or at least as robust of a career as the likes of Canelo Alvarez, but with the way that he's on track right now and with the uncorked ability to be able to be out of the shadow of Canelo with this loss to Terrence Crawford, which has had a lot of people now reevaluating Canelo's own career and saying, was this man really all that? Now, he was. Be clear. He was. But sentiment is starting to shift and change. Again, the ethos of boxing is starting to yet again shift with its tectonic plates of action and discourse, rankings, and just outright opinions. And Benavidez right now is looking mighty good. All the stuff that we've been saying about him is now starting to get recognized. He's been taking tests. He's been taking challenges. He's been beating some good people handily. He's been moving up and dominating. He ain't been running. He's making his own legacy, and it is starting to get very, very, very robust in its own right at only 28 years old. Part of the reason was because he was denied a couple of opportunities that he should have already had due to, again, in part, Canelo. But there's a chance now where everything's uncorked, especially now with the backing of Turkey Al Sheikh, with the fandom now starting to well and good come behind him. Lucratively, he's being phenomenal, and he can open up the doors to get fights that many people oftentimes wouldn't have just given to him or wouldn't take with him because he's so dangerous. With the goal of undisputed light heavyweight Bivol and Better BF, along with Yard right now, is there a chance this man could get up to the same level that we see at Canelo right now and potentially eclipse him because he's not doing the things that we frustratingly saw Canelo do throughout his career? And because he's so young, moving at this pace, is there a chance that he can do stuff that, hey, can't reach that zenith? I want to hear from you all. Let me see. No cap. His legacy ain't gonna be nothing. Overshadowed by Crawford, Canelo, AJ, Pac-Man, and Mayweather. Well, so here's the thing. When I say get up to the level, I'm talking about getting in within that vicinity. I am not saying it's gonna be greater than Crawford. I'm not saying it's gonna be greater than Canelo. It can. I'm gonna be honest. It can get up to Anthony Joshua. It can get up to Anthony Joshua, especially with the dominance at super middle and now at light heavyweight. Let him beat Bivol. People are gonna say that he's had a career, and AJ's had a phenomenal. AJ's fought everybody. AJ has fought everybody. He hasn't ducked any smoke either, absolutely. But it's also to some degree the success helps play a big part in how that legacy is also done. And if he wins at that level, I would say he had a better career than Anthony Joshua. If he was able to do what he did at 168 and at 175, and if he goes to cruiserweight like he's talking about and he does that as well and succeeds, I might have to say he had a greater career than Anthony Joshua. With no disrespect to Anthony Joshua, or at least he's in that same vein. I would have to. And if he wins, even more successful. And of course, Pac-Man, Mayweather, sure. But again, Mayweather's of a bygone era. Pacquiao's of a bygone era. Though he's back in boxing, his era and where he is as a fighter is well and good back there. It's one of the 10 greatest fighters I've ever seen, but still, it is back there. Benavidez, with him being only 28, mind you, look at what Devin Haney's already done, and I don't even think he's 27. If I can see if I got my Devin Haney's 26 years old. And look at what he's already accomplished as one of the most accomplished fighters of that Four Kings era that we had with Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez, and Tank Davis, which now that's completely dissipated. That no longer exists. But still, he's one of the most accomplished boxers in boxing, period. That is the truth, and he's fought names. Benavidez has fought the names but was denied the chance at the ultimate greatness at 168 by I believe it was the WBC. And then never got the shot that he deserved. But with the way he's moving now, off of the dominance of 168, with them keeping both the interim and I think the initial title when he initially won it before he got stripped because of drug use and got himself right and then never looked back. But like it's hard for me to say that this man can't be up there. And again, you have to also understand, David Benavidez is a part of that, I don't want to call it tweener, but as we've talked about in the world of boxing before, this era in boxing is coming to an end, period. This era in boxing is coming to an end. You got the people who are Tyson Fury, Usyk, Canelo, Crawford, all of some of Anthony Joshua, Dillian White, Derek Chisora, Nonito Donaire, Lomachenko. A lot of these names are getting old and are getting to the end of their career. Sean Porter, gone. Errol Spence, we don't know if he's ever coming back. time is winding down. Keith Thurman, coming back, having a resurgence, sure. But all of them roughly were around at the same time, coming up zenith-wise. Benavidez is a part of that next-ish era in boxing. He's right in the middle of the changing of the guard, though the guard hasn't changed fully. But once he reaches 30, 31 years old, at the prime, he's going to be there. Probably one of the biggest forerunners of that next generation. When people like Abdullah Mason, Floyd Schofield, Shakur Stevenson has to get older and older, but still getting into their absolute physical prime, he's going to be in his prime. 32, 33. If he keeps on fighting that long. And going through it and taking tests, taking all that stuff. He's got the potential. With this era winding down, with the mindset of boxing changing, with the fans' appetite moving in a direction that allows for him to get the fights that he wants, and with a promoter in Turkey Al Sheikh, again, not trying to glaze, just the truth of who he's with right now. I believe he's also with the PBC, but regardless of which, both of them, and being able to put him in a position to get these major situations that when he was 26, 25 years old, he wasn't able to get. This can put this man in the threshold to where, hey, now I'm the guy, I'm the face that runs the place. I am. We don't know how long Crawford's going to be. We know Khalil's time is getting ready to wind up. And all the other old guard that right now reigns at the top of the division. Shoot, even know he anyway. And I think that brother, if he's good enough, he can fight till potentially he's 40. Who knows? But from the standpoint of even him, he's 32 right now. 33, 34, 35, that's about when people start saying, hey, the decline begins. Now, because of how primes have gone of this ilk in boxing, for the course of this generation, people's primes are lasting longer. People are able to stay in the game for longer. People are able to win against good competition for longer. Yeah. Which is great. Greatness gets to last, but it's still got to end. And when it ends, somebody else takes its place, and Benavidez can be in position to take that place and to reach that zenith and get that shine in legacy, both with resume and with acclaim that Canelo had. He can. At least I think he can. At least get close to it. Because now there's nothing holding him back that is out of his control. Because mind you, he did everything right, but got done over wrongly every other way by the business of boxing, by other fighters, all that stuff. False claims that he couldn't sell, all that. It messed him up from the standpoint of stifled the rapid growth that he was already on. Unlike with Devin Haney, when it flourished and shined. It did. You can say he was boring, he was still one of the biggest names in the sport. He was still selling with most of the big guys in the world of boxing. He was still one of the hottest names. When he was at the top, pound for pound, all that stuff. Benavidez could have been right there as well, but it was denied to him. Now it's not. So his legacy, I think, can now reach the pinnacle that we were saying it has the potential to for what was the 4 years. All because of the ripple effects of the loss from Canelo Alvarez to Terrence Crawford. Shoot, he could even fight Terrence Crawford now. Understand that. He could be the man to beat. He could be the man to beat Terrence Crawford. Hypothetically, if he stays at 168, and Benavidez says, hey, I'll come back down. He said it multiple times now, so if he keeps to it, all well and good. We could see that happen, and then boom. That feather in your cap, coupled with everything else that you can do beyond 168, like with 175 undisputed, cruiserweight with Zerto or Jai Apata, all of that now is at your disposal, and it's accessible. And it's called for by the masses. Without the shadow of Canelo hindering all that stuff. And Canelo now becomes unavoidable, like we said earlier, to you. When initially he was able to avoid you whenever way he wanted to. Now he can't do that anymore. This, great. Which is why I say his legacy, he can get to that level. Exactly why I say his legacy can get to that level. Because I truly think he can. Truly, I do think he can. But let me see. It's all about Mexican aficionados to make Benavidez the next face of boxing. In fact, I'm thinking, again, I really do think he can get there. Or at least get within that top 3. Like he should have been a while ago, if I'm being completely honest. But even still, let me keep on reading what you had to say. Let's see if he gets past Appetite. Now again, I'm not saying before that. Let's see if he gets past Yard. Before all that, let's see if he gets past Yard. Again, he's still got work to do. I think he beat Yard, but he still got to get past Yard. But Appetite at cruiserweight, I still don't know if he's going to get up there. Again, he's talking about it. He says he's going to do it. I need to see it first before it happens. So I ain't going to go to Appetite yet. I brought up Appetite as a potential if he does go that far and do that. Yeah. No kidding, this brother reaches a pinnacle that I think he can get to. But I'm not going to I'm not going to count my chickens yet. Because they ain't hatched yet. So I still think that, and I've also said that fight with Appetite, cruiserweight might be a little bit too much. Might be a little too much for Benavidez. Because of what happened when he got cracked with David Morrell. Though, again, he fought a near-perfect fight. With the big boys that they got up there, man, that's a dangerous thing. But even still, let's see him get past the Yard, first and foremost. But the potential is definitely there. Jack called him out if he survives Yard. Well, look, if I can tell you this concretely. If Benavidez beats Yard, he's going after Bivol or Artur Beterbiev. There's nobody else that he is going to fight except for one of those 2 people. I promise you that. That's going off the inklings of what Turkey Al Sheikh's trying to do and what Benavidez has also said that he wants to do. He wants his shot at undisputed. He's currently a reigning legitimate super champion with the WBA. It's either the WBA or the IBF, one of the 2 belts. But regardless of which, he's an actual champion, but he never got to win it. He never got to win it in the ring. He's only been able he won it because Bivol dropped it. He wants to get a fight to put all the belts around his waist and win them. That's against Bivol. He's waiting for Bivol. And he's waiting for Beterbiev. They both fighting on Beterbiev and Benavidez are fighting on the same card. I promise you, if Bivol still is recovering, Beterbiev is taking that fight with Benavidez. That's a big money fight. That's a championship fight because it'll be for his title. Whenever that gets Bivol, at least that's what I can see happening. But yeah, let's see if we can beat Yard first. Let me see. Hold on. Wait a minute. I tell you why he's an American-born fighter with Mexican heritage. Mexicans will never accept him as a true Mexican. That's part of the fan base legacy. Now, see, I don't buy into that because almost every Mexican that I've talked to and people that have come through the chat as well on the show have been telling me that there's been a swing of fans from Canelo to David Benavidez in the Mexican population because of Canelo's inconsistency and because Benavidez reps Mexican heritage with pride. And so I don't know if that, I don't believe that's true from everything I've been able to see and know. The biggest attraction has been you're just not better than Canelo. But in terms of acceptance, nah, ain't never been that. Normally, if it isn't Canelo, I see everybody supporting this brother, especially for the Mexican population. Everybody. I mean everybody. So I'm not sure. I don't know about that. From what I've seen and heard, I don't know if that's true. I think it's been pretty accepted. Again, from the outside looking in, that's just what I've been able to gather. Let me see. It has nothing to do with boxing. It's a race-based sport as pertaining to family. That is true. Again, I'm only telling you what I know and what I've gathered and heard talks and with social media and just looking at the pulse of the fandoms as a whole. Best I can do. I'm not trying to act like I know everything. Everything I'm getting told has either been shown to me or we've had talks about it. So I'm not trying to step my foot into another culture's affairs of what they are and are not supportive of. That's for y'all to handle. I'm just an observer that is simply saying what I observe. Plain and simple. And you don't understand, Mexican fans will ride him until a Mexican-born fighter does better. It's temporary. So you're saying that it shifts every. I don't want to say it's floozy, but you're saying for a lot. But you're saying for a lot of times, a lot of Mexican fans will go in ebbs and flows from one fighter to another, who is their it guy per se. But there are still a whole bunch of people still rocking with Canelo even after the loss to Crawford, aren't they? Like when I talked about the swaths of fans moving, especially in the Mexican population, moving towards Benavidez, I was talking about that well before this fight with Terrence Crawford ever happened. Because I was saying that I was picking up that fans were getting sick of Canelo not fighting David Benavidez because he had initially said he doesn't fight other Mexicans because he wants to bring all of his people up, not to go against each other. Which I even said when that happened, hey, if that's how he feels, I'm going to respect that. That's what he does. That's fine. He won't fight Benavidez. But then when he fought Jaime Munguia, another fellow Mexican, all of a sudden that logic went out the window. And now we were all up in arms because there's no excuse. And Mexican fans wanted to see that fight, whether they loved or hated Benavidez, whether they loved or hated Canelo. And it was like, hey, because you've now already gone against your own sentiment, and you're still not doing it against the guy that we all know in the Mexican population we want to see it. For the world, we want to see it. But especially for them, we want to answer. Then they started saying, okay, yeah, we going with the guy who's actually been trying to get with you. And people started changing their tunes. That was the followed timeline I was able to understand to what was going down. But like I said, it's only what I know. I'm not trying to act like I am in said culture with said people. And you're right. What you're saying, I've seen that as well, with people going and changing their tunes on fighters at whims, even beyond just the Mexican population. I've seen it. I have definitely seen it. It's not a new thing. It's a common thing in boxing as a whole. People all the time, like I've said, it's not one race or one sect of people. It's everybody. But the boxing world is fickle. We talked about this before. The boxing world is fickle. Whether you're a fan of the sport or you're a fan of just a fighter, it is fickle in every regard. At some point in time, everybody feels, everybody has their feelings change. And the swath of fans across the globe shift and move. Again, this is why I call it the tectonic plates of the sport. They shift. They rub against each other. They grind each other down into new shapes, into new continents, into new land formations, all this stuff. Some cases it's violent. Some cases it's all of a sudden. In some cases it's gradually over time. With Tank, it was all of a sudden. With Tank, it went from absolute a lull. He's here. We're sick of it. We're tired. The next thing you know, boom, everything just blew up. Everything blew up against Tank. Within the span of less than a year, everything blew up against Tank all at once. All at once. And that friction in boxing on the feeling of Tank was always tense. But when it finally broke, oh my gosh, it just shattered. And it completely flipped the script. One of the most talked about athletes in the sport, all of a sudden becoming a non-existent factor from the standpoint of no fans, no pundits, no shows want to discuss this man. Fans don't want to talk about this man. Everybody's done with him. It's the craziest thing. The craziest thing. It's the reality. No, the identity or the thought process and the favoritism can shift and change in a heartbeat. The love-hate relationship, it's a love-hate relationship. And it can go just, it can, at the snap of your fingers, it can go at any given point in time or come to you. But fans are fickle. It's really fickle. And my point being, he doesn't deserve, and my point being, he doesn't have true loyal fans. His fan base is flaky, but I wish him luck. His personality ain't big enough. He makes Crawford fights. He makes Crawford's personality seem like he's Michael Jordan. And so, are you talking about Dave Benavidez? I think if you're talking about Dave Benavidez, I can capitulate that potentially his fan base isn't loyal. I'll capitulate. Maybe that's the case. Again, I got to look into it some more. But for the sake of argument, I'll take your word for it. No issue there. Personality-wise, though, for me, it falls into the same trajectory as Terrence Crawford. If to hear how Benavidez talks, mind you, this man said, I've sparred with Bevo before. I know what happens in them sparring sessions. I know I can beat him. I know I can knock him out. Period. He's gone through when he fought against Boo Andre. Hey, yo, I'm going to mess you up. Period. Cussing him out and everything. Caleb Plant talked smack like he knew he was going to destroy that brother and then walked him down and backed it up. He's gone through. And in interviews, outside of press conference, in press conferences, the way he talks about his career, he thinks and moves akin to his name. Yeah, she's fun-loving, got a great family, can laugh and all this stuff, but when it comes to boxing, like, just like with Bud, hey man, you talk to this man and you actually listen to what he says, nah, he'll get you excited. He'll get you excited for whatever he's going to do next because all of a sudden you see, oh no, this cat's thinking like a monster. For real. Legitimately for real. I'll come back down to 168 if Canelo wants me to. Give me my shot. I deserve it. You know I deserve it. You know I would beat you. You're a coward. You're scared. Call it using rhetoric that is visceral. Again, he still keeps it tasteful for the most part, but it's a visceral need to give me the fights that are hard. And every time in the ring when he shows up, he comes out and he does just that. Gets a fight that's a hard fight and then goes through and puts on a show. And it backs up the personality. Hey, I told you I was the man. I told you I was the best. Shoot, Crawford ain't even that exuberant. You catch Crawford outside on the street. That's where his real personality is. But on camera, he's gotten better. But he's more docile. He's more even keeled. Like he'll talk, but you don't see the Crawford that is like, oh my gosh, yeah, he ready. You don't see that Crawford come out up until like the day before the fight. It happened with Spence. It happened with Canelo. Though, yeah, he walked down Canelo and all that stuff, and you saw it a little bit earlier. But even still, it doesn't come out as much often because he is a cunning. What's the word? Crawford is a cunning, surgical, psychological monster. That he knows when to switch on because again, he's a psychopath from the standpoint of, yeah, I know I'm going to beat you. And you know I'm going to beat you. You can talk all that talk and ain't going to mean nothing. Once we get in the ring, it's done. And the day before the fight, you see that switch flip. And you see everything that we know Crawford is come out in that moment. But you don't see it throughout the rest of the press conference. Benavidez, you see it throughout the rest of the press conference. It still comes out the same way on the night of the fight or the day before. But you see him being vocal. You see him talking. You talk to anybody who comes to him and say, hey, yeah, I'm a bad dude. You better believe it. I respect my opponent, but he can't do nothing with me. And you know it. And he knows it. And I know it. Again, because of the shadow of Canelo, all of that got squashed. Now that it's out, and it's gone. Watch. Let this press conference with Anthony Yard get disrespectful. Let Anthony Yard get disrespectful. Let him say something out of pocket. You're gonna see exactly what Benavidez can do to talk and sell. I guarantee, I promise you. He does it without it, but with it, oh gosh. Oh, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be really bad. Let me see. He's exactly like Bud, but he hasn't proven it yet, but he has potential to do it the same way. And again, I'm not gonna, again, Bud is top 10 in my estimation. So in terms of all time, I'm not gonna put him in that same category. Because we gotta, at some point in time, we gotta give respect where respect is due. And there's gotta be a threshold. I ain't putting him there. But I am saying the same way that he went about his career of now finally getting the shots that he deserves. Thankfully he's at 28, not at 38. Is here now. And I do believe he's gonna do everything that we think he's gonna do. Now that he has uncapped the potential, which I'm so excited for. Give him Rolly or Thurman's tongue, and he's everything you said. And you ain't wrong. You ain't wrong. Like you give Crawford that same type of mouth. You give Crawford that same type of I don't want to say vernacular because he's incredibly intelligent. And again, you just listen to him. He is a very insightful person. But you give him that ability, the gift of gab like that. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. You give him the same rhetoric of Conor Ben. You give him the same rhetoric as Conor Ben or Tyson Fury. You're doggone right. Yeah, he's on everybody's mind. He's on everybody, and this brings to mind, as much as people may dislike this man, it makes me appreciate the role of Bill Haney, which is something crazy to say, but it does make me appreciate the role of Bill Haney, because having somebody that can talk that type of talk for you, an advocate, a Paul Heyman guy is the best way to put it. Having a Paul Heyman guy that can come through and talk and get the people going, an advocate for what your greatness is, what you're going to do, how you're going to stop somebody, all of that, yeah, it can help. Teofimo Lopez and his dad talks a whole bunch of smack. But everybody wants to see what's going to happen. If anything, just to shut him up. Just to shut Bill Haney up. But he'll listen. The ability to have somebody be the mouthpiece for what your greatness stands for. And they can put it in a way that everybody wants to hear, whether they like it or not. It's like, it's the truth. It makes you appreciate, as much as you may not like them, their role got their star to where they are today. It did. And I'm not gonna lie. Benavidez, again, I've heard Benavidez. He does talk good, but it's not beating people over the head. You get what I'm saying? Like Tank, he'll talk, but he's more so just straight up disrespectful. But Tank is more so because of the culture. It just naturally him. He just already just gravitates people. He just doesn't. He doesn't have to try. It just happens. Excuse me, because he's just Tank, and it just works. And somebody can talk as much as they want, and they still can't do the same level of gravitation like Tank, because Tank's just Tank. Whether we like it or not, it's a natural type of charisma. You can't really teach it; it just comes, and everybody wants to see it and be about it and talk about it. That's why we all talk about it. That's why people always talk about it. That's why we have him on the show every day. Well, not every day, but a lot of times, because every time something comes up about him, everybody has an opinion to where it's too loud for the public to ignore. We got to at least address it. Because Tank's, he's that type of polarizing figure. Benavidez can be that, but I would hope, even with the amount of talking that he does, which it is good, it just ain't in your face. Get somebody to be that advocate for you. A wise man. A Paul Heyman guy. Per se. As we're going wrestling terms. And you'll see that, boy. Shoot, give that to me. Hey, David Benavidez, if you need somebody to talk for you and get the masses going, to get excited for anything that you come into fight, I'll say everything. I'll do it. I'll be respectful. Because again, I love the sport. But doggone it, hey, look, I will make you undeniable. Give me 2 weeks. I'll put you on the front page of Twitter. Of X. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. Hey, look. Somebody tell Team Benavidez, hit me up. Because if let me be the advocate for you, doing promos, voiceovers, doggone it, going to press conferences, talking against the opponent, talking against other people. I ain't gonna do what some other people do. But I'm gonna take it to a certain point that you're gonna be like, okay, yeah. Oh, I want to see what's going on. I want to see what's going down. Oh, I can't wait to see it. Look, I'll make you famous. I'll help you. I'll help make you famous. I promise you. I guarantee you that. Oh my gosh. Let me see. When I say like Bud, I mean trying to fight the best and low profile personality or low engineer. Yeah, okay. That I understand. That now I get what you're saying now. I appreciate the clarification. I appreciate you for the Bill comment. Devin sounds like Mickey Mouse. I mean, it's like again, Devin can talk somewhat, but his dad has a filter that is able to go non-existent. Hence why this fight with Brian Norman and Devin Haney is also so enticing, because it's also father versus father, trainer versus trainer, as well as fighter versus fighter. Devin versus T.O. But you want to talk about fireworks in a press conference, and that would be? They wouldn't even need an official press conference. They would just have to put Bill Haney and T.O.'s father on stage and just say, all right, have at it. We got 3 questions, go. And then let them talk for an hour. That's all they would have to do. And then it'd be great. And so, let me see. So does Schofield Senior? So does Schofield Senior. But he's still selling the fight. Yeah, him too. Like I said, there's a multiplicity of people that have that advocate mentality. Now, I've also said that it can be dangerous. Also understand, if you cashing checks that your son has to pay, and if he doesn't work, if we're talking about a father-son relationship, I've said before, it can be very fruitful, or it can be very detrimental in the long run for what your fighter can be or what they can do. For T.O., it was very much up and down, and then he got right, and now that relationship's working flawlessly. Devin Haney, Bill Haney, it's been a great duo, great tandem. But because Devin Haney is also bought into said persona of I'm the villain, I'm the bad guy, okay, fine. When he lost to Ryan Garcia, you saw what that got him. It's also a slippery slope. If you walk that line of, okay, I'm going to be polarizing on one spectrum or the other, the result of, or the need for you to win is a lot higher. Because the ridicule, if you lose, is going to be through the roof. It will. It absolutely will. Again, both of the Charlo speaks for himself. Both of them. Both of them took a hit, mega hit, when Charlo lost to Canelo. Both of them, because of how much they talked. The price of being that much of a polarizing figure, you got to be perfect. Not because perfection is the only thing that makes it a successful career. No, that's not the case. But the intensity of disdain and the intensity of the ripples of said loss are going to be tsunami level waves if you lose when you go down that path of talking like a polarizing figure. Because now you are inevitably drawing a line in the sand. Ali did it. Ali was hated. People hated Ali. What do you call him, the Louisville Mouse? I'm too pretty to get hit. All that stuff. People wanted this man gone. People wanted this man gone. When he beat Sonny Liston, people were in shock because they were like, there's no way this loudmouth running Negro is going to come through and beat one of the most dominant heavyweight champions we've seen in boxing history. One of arguably the scariest heavyweight we've ever seen in boxing history. Ain't no way. And we hate Liston. Don't forget, people hated Liston. This man was seen as a monster to the day he died. Legitimately. People despised that brother. Mob ties and all. People despised him. And they wanted him to destroy Ali. And brother, when he beat him, oh my gosh. When he beat him again, oh my gosh. Because again, the risk versus reward. The effects, that's what it takes. That's what it takes. If he lost that fight to Sonny Liston, how history might have been different. If he had lost that fight to Sonny Liston, oh, how history could have been different. With how much he was getting vilified by the public, with a villain in the ring in Sonny Liston himself. But that was the risk reward factor because he made himself undeniable. He made himself be somebody, you better pay attention to me or else you're going to miss something special. And he proved him wrong at every step of the way. Even in defeat, he proved him wrong so many times that people, guess what? After he did lose, they couldn't help but love him. They were like, oh my gosh, don't stop talking. You're still the greatest. Like you've said in the past. The trackers became fervent, loyal people. The haters became lovers of Ali from the standpoint of being beloved with his style and as a fighter, wanting to support him, wanting to see him succeed. But he had to back it up for so long in such a dominant way. Benavidez, if he got somebody that was an advocate like that, yeah, it would help him out. At some point in time, yeah, just straight up winning can do the job for you eventually, like it did with Crawford. But he's at the precipice now. We can take that star power that Canelo used to hog all to his own and put it on him. Because people are looking at him now. With him doing everything right, people are already looking at him now saying, all right, hey, we here now. He takes advantage of this spotlight, not just with the win, but he talks that talk. Minimum after Bebo or after a yard, if he beats him, he talks that talk. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, it's about to get dangerous for the landscape of boxing as a whole, and we can't wait. I can't wait. I cannot wait. That's why I'm so excited for that fight. What happens afterwards can move stuff along real quick. I mean, real quick. Real quick, man. So it's November 22nd cannot come soon. It can't come soon enough. Ali, the real legend. Yeah, no, absolutely. He is. Like I said, most of this stuff he mastered. Most of the talking of the stuff that we're discussing with the pitfalls of a fighter and whatnot, he mastered, which was insane. Also, please, It's still the championship rounds. We still want to hear from you all on what you got to say on the matter with any questions or comments or concerns with everything surrounding the boxing world that you would like to discuss. Also, be sure, if you haven't already, to leave a like on the stream, to keep on commenting your thoughts and opinions, to keep on subscribing to the channel if you have not already, and to keep on sharing the show with everybody that you know so we can keep on building up this empire together. Whether you're at your work, whether you are at home, whether you're in your car, I don't care who you're with. Tell everybody to come through and listen to the hottest show in all the globe, right here on YouTube and every podcasting platform imaginable. We appreciate all of you being here. And also, Mike Huncho, how you doing? Hey, good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. FBC, just here listening, great show. Hey, I appreciate it. Like I said, you ain't got to comment. If you want to, feel free to. But we just want people to come in and have some fun, enjoy, and help you enthrall in the conversation. And hey, add their 2 cents to it. Because again, the whole show, you all and anybody who comes in, drives the conversation for the world of sports, be it in boxing and or beyond, all throughout the show. And it's what, 2 hours? Good gosh. We already at 2 hours? Shoot. I did not, good gosh. I didn't even feel it. Great day. I thought we were at like an hour 30. Dang. And that was with a longer than normal intro. Shoot. My gosh, we still got talking points to cover, but it's like, man, this is great. This is phenomenal. But let's keep on track and let's keep on going as we can still talk about a bunch more stuff. In light of talking about Dave Benavidez, there is an interesting tidbit that I didn't want to touch on in regards to the cruiserweight landscape. Y'all brought up him. Let's see if he can beat Jai Apatai. Well, do y'all think he can really go through if he did inevitably get to cruiserweight and be a dominant champion? Because again, he's 6'1", 6'2". He's 74, 75-inch reach. Just about. He would have the fastest hands in the division. Unequivocally. And from what I've seen in the cruiserweight division, again, even with Zerto Ramirez, even with Jai Apatai, shoot, even with the likes of Badu Jack, which actually, I almost forgot to say, in the world of Badu Jack, hey, the other ages where Methuselah himself has got another shot at the title, seemingly going up against Jai Apatai January 31st. My goodness.
Hey, look at this. We got the problems here.
So we got to fight there.
We got the problems here.
And people may say that he's the weakest of the champions. I've been telling you all multiple times, hey, you better be Badu Jack is a brother. Every time I see this man in a fight, he's winning a title. I have yet to see this man lose live. And I never know when he's going to fight. I just know he pops up and it's for a belt at some point in time. Well, now this brother didn't hit the big time, and he's potentially going to fight Jai Apatai, who seemed to be the best cruiserweight in the world. At least tied for number one was Zerto Ramirez. So it's like, man, it's interesting. It's interesting, boy. I think that's going to be a very underrated fight that people may think that Badu Jack ain't got a shot at. I've seen this man too much to know. Even though the last performance may not have looked as good. I get it. This brother somehow, somehow, well, where's the music? Somehow, some way, regardless of who he faces off against, regardless of how old we think this brother, regardless of the known propensity that he's even going to fight, this brother somehow has gotten a belt. Every time he's fought for the past, 5 years I've watched this sport, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And so I'm like, wait a minute, dare I say I might just pick Badu Jack to beat. I might just pick Badu Jack to upset Jai Apatai. You know why? Because I'm scared to play against this brother. I'm scared. I'm scared to pick against this cat. Because every time I even think he's going to lose or he's in trouble, he pulls it out. There he goes again. And end up being up. You see on the card, okay, yeah, he's going to win. Is it for a title? I assume. Yep, it's for a title. All right, there you go. Well, he's what was it? Super middleweight. I think it was light heavyweight, and then it was cruiserweight. I think it was 160 at one point in time too. I don't know how many divisions this brother's been to. I just know he's won belts every time I've seen him out. It makes no sense, but he's just always there. He's just always there, and then he just wins a belt, says thank you, and then goes back into the ether. I don't know how. I don't get it. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. But it's just the truth. And it's funny because it's becoming a running joke on this thing. It's becoming a running joke on this show. Because I'm telling you, every time I watch a major card, I will get shocked at every instance and say, wait a minute, is Badu Jack fighting today? And because I never hear about it, but he's always winning a belt. I don't understand. He is always winning a belt or fighting for a title, and he never loses. He never loses. I've seen this man gashed over the head. He won. I've seen this man be put in trouble. He won, and he knocked him down. I've seen it be like, oh, was this a replacement fight? In some cases, I have no clue. It's not even a fight before the main event. He's like the third fight on the card. But yet still, he wins. And it's just, it's the craziest thing. So I'm telling you, I might, look, once that, again, it's talked about, it's looking like it's going to happen on January, January 30, January 31st? January 31st, that's what it's looking like based on said report. But again, nothing's confirmed yet. It just talks. We're waiting. But if that fight does get confirmed, I promise you, and I love Jai Apathy. I love Jai Apathy, especially after with the interviews that he had on the ring in the fight before the Crawford, in the night before the Crawford Canelo fight, when he was standing in between Lennox Lewis and Roy Jones Jr. And he was like, yo, what are we here for? We're here for titles. I want titles. Give me what I want. I'm not about all this pomp and circumstance. I want to put somebody down. And then Lennox and Roy were like, hey, brother, look, I like this brother. He's got the seal of approval for me. Got it from me too. But my gosh, if this does get confirmed, conversations on this channel are about to get absolutely disgusting. They're about to get conversations on this channel. Conversations are about to get disgusting if that fight gets confirmed. Y'all are gonna be telling me, yo, I'm unsubscribing. Y'all gonna tell me, hey, but I'm not listening to this channel. You're out of your mind. Oh man, that's gonna be. Oh, that's gonna be funny. That's gonna be funny. I hope that fight doesn't get announced. Cause my gosh, that would be hilarious. But before I got on that side hustle, what was I talking about? I remember now. It was Apathy, Zerto, Badu Jack at this point. Everybody else respectful to Benavidez. If we see this road go down, that he can fight at cruiserweight. If he does commit to this potential decision that he said all those months ago. He's got 1 or 2 fights left, and he's moving up to cruiserweight to fight for those titles and go for undisputed there. If that's the case, I strongly feel that 175 is the upper limit that Benavidez can fight, be everything that he needs to be, and be just as dominant. Because once he gets up to cruiserweight, I am concerned that at some point in time, the damage that's going to be outputted is not going to be enough, and the damage that can be incurred is indeed susceptible. Because again, I've seen this man get rocked before by David Morrell. And at cruiserweight, a bunch of people got David Morrell like power. Legitimately. Even, I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna say even your average, but even your, the entry level that we would expect Benavidez to walk into and it would still be a high level because he would already be considered a championship contender. But even that entry level of dipping your toe into the ranks of the cruiserweight world would still be dangerous enough that, hey, these people, it could end before you start. I need, honestly, what would give me better validation for if he can survive at cruiserweight would be if he beat Artur Beterbiev. It would. If he beat Artur Beterbiev, now again, I know Bivol and Artur Beterbiev, they're neck and neck. I get it. And I know Bivol is the current unified champion. That's the man to be. That's the guy with all the belts. That's the brother who beat Artur Beterbiev. This time when Beterbiev was fully healthy by fighting him in his own domain in another close, competitive, highly technical, but all-out action-packed war. Incredible fight. Split 1-1 record. But in terms of handling that level of physicality, Beterbiev would be a better litmus test to have. You could also argue Anthony Yarde could be a potential opportune test to show what it would be like going up against somebody who is dumb strong like you would have to face at cruiserweight. Though size-wise, yeah, he ain't the same. I get that. But that would be the fight. And again, the reason why I say this is all because of David Morrell. If he didn't get rocked like he did against David Morrell, I would be a lot less concerned with the potential outcomes of him at cruiserweight. I would. Now, if I'm being completely honest, even with all my pitfalls against Benavidez moving up to cruiserweight, if he did get up to cruiserweight, guess what? He could get up there with the likes of Apatai and Zerto. He could. I would say that if he would have, even with my concerns, he would have the same run he's having now at cruiserweight that he is at light heavyweight. He would have the same run. I truly think that because I think he's that special of a fighter. It's just once he gets to that top two, that's where I'm like, I don't know. That now that their talent at that weight against you might be something that is too much to bear. Might be. And if anything, it's like, because here's the thing. If he fights Jai Apatai, he's dealing with speed, literal cutthroat-like punches, insane level power, and reach and outright strength. If he deals with Zerto, he's dealing with incredible combination punching, a gas tank that can go the distance, a body that doesn't get hurt in terms of like you can't hurt the brother, especially with how we looked last fight. You can't really hurt that brother to the body. And it's slick and effective. And to be able to catch, counter, shoot, and can be all that stuff at that big size of his. So you're dealing with physical dominance and then slick boxing at a threshold of height and weight that is like that combination at that size might be too much for you once you get up there. It might be. It really might be. And I'm concerned. Now, it could be that when Benavidez gets up to cruiserweight, all of us say if, I won't say when, I'll say if because it's still unconfirmed. But if he gets up to cruiserweight and he gets up to what is it? What's the weight limit? What, 199? It's the weight limit 199 or is it 200? I can't remember if it's 199 or if it's 200. But whatever the weight limit is, he gets up there. Come on, he already started out as a big kid. Like he was a big brother when he was a child. He boxed to fight that weight off and grew into what we see him now. He looked the best shape he's been in. Okay, thank you. Ramon, thank you very much. Also, hold on, what's that? How you doing? Oh, I forgot to say, good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show. We're so happy that you're with us on today. No question about it. Please leave a like on the stream since you are here. And please share the show with everybody that you can to bring more people in on the conversation. It's been great. It's been phenomenal. It is championship rounds Friday where you all drive the conversation. It's the end of the week. It's the end of the fight. Guess what that means? We're in the championship rounds. So it's time for you to come through and say whatever you want to say and whatever questions, comments, concerns, debates, opinions on the world of boxing and or beyond. We can talk about it right here for you all to disseminate over and for me to get my thoughts on. Oh, we can have a discussion. No question about it. But you say nobody, right now, nobody is stopping Benavidez. Yeah, I mean, like he's looking like, because you got to understand, Benavidez is a brother who has garnered skills every way of his career. When people, and this isn't a shot at anybody, but when people generally talk about Benavidez, they always talk about the hand speed, they always talk about the generalities of the size, the power. Hey, he's got all that stuff. And he's such a monster. Yeah, but it's in generals. Or it's in generalities, which still is valid. But you got to get to the dirty of exactly what makes this brother great. This man has added offensive and defensive weapons every time out that has turned him into a surgical monster. His jab is the best it's ever been. His combinations are just as good as they've always been. His hand speed has not just stayed the same, but it is outclassing every single other person in his way, at this point in time, regardless of weight class. From 175 on up, his hand speed is the fastest in the game. It's faster than Bivol. Yes, it is. It's faster than Archie Benavidez. It's faster than Jaya Patai. It's faster than Zerto Ramirez. And on top of that, his footwork has elevated to an elite level. His distance management, understanding depth perception and the depth of punch perception to know where he's safe and where he's not safe. The lean back high guard is no longer a bad thing for him because now he gets how to use it when he's out of range. But when he's in range, guess what he's doing now? He's slipping side to side. He's ducking under shots. He's using a cross guard. He's combining it with a high guard. He'll go in you and make his height a deliberate factor. He'll make his opening small. So if you score to the body, that's fine, but that's the only place you're going to get me. He's become a great elite punch parrier when punches come his way. He can do it both going forward and going backwards now. He's incredible. He's the best Dave Benavidez I've seen ever in his career. He's the best. If this Benavidez was going up against the Caleb Plant that he fought in the past, he would have knocked him out. Not because he didn't already beat him up, but because it would have been even more of a destructive display because it wouldn't have been as much. It was still a war that Benavidez dominated, but he would have been even cleaner and been able to capitalize even more so on the likes of Caleb Plant. To where, yeah, he would have gotten stopped. Or just straight up put down. He has eclipsed everything that he used to be, but hasn't lost anything about himself, but has only added on to the ability and to the intelligence of him as a boxer. He's incredible. He's ridiculous. As a talent right now, it is tough to put anybody above him. On the same level, absolutely. Or if you want to put him above him, it's only two people. Better BF and Bivol at this division. But outside of that, even still, he's right within that mix. And there's an argument that he could be better than one of them. There's an argument he could be better than, there is a real argument he could be a better fighter than one of them. Already at this stage right now. Who it is, take your pick. Or at least he's tied with all three. That's how good he is. That's how good he is. He's insane. He's ridiculous. It ain't just the generalities of what makes David Benavidez so great. He has emerged and evolved into a force of nature and a force of will and a force of skill, more importantly, which is phenomenal. The path for Benavidez should be Yard, Benavidez, Bivol. Is it Bivol? A-E-I. Okay, yeah. Okay, so it is Bivol. It is Bivol. I'll figure it out. Bivol, Ramirez, and Apataya. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. This is a good way. The only thing I would change, switch around Beterbiev and Bivol. After Yard, Bivol. After back surgery, don't matter. Take that fight. Force your way into that fight. Don't let Beterbiev get that opportunity. Not because Beterbiev doesn't deserve it. Again, Bivol said he was going to give it to him. He relinquished about to give it to him, but he didn't get it. I get Beterbiev's frustration. I also understand that Bivol's injured. All that's well and good. I have said multiple times that Beterbiev is a worse matchup for Benavidez than Dimitri Bivol, because of the fact that if it does turn into a straight up onslaught of pain and power, Beterbiev has everything in his arsenal to beat what Benavidez will bring to the table. And he's definitely got the power to put him down and hurt him if it goes into just straight up exchanges for 12 rounds. Yes, he does. I'm not saying it's going to be guaranteed he's going to win. But brother, that would be a war of attrition and blood. That the same thing that David Benavidez has done to every other opponent in his career, Beterbiev could do that to him. And you know he can. You know he can. You can say that Bivol might be able to outbox him, hypothetically. But it's way more likely that we could see Benavidez outbox and beat Bivol with how he is right now. Not saying it's going to happen, but it's more likely to happen than for me to see Artur Beterbiev lose a straight up knockdown, drag out brawl against David Benavidez. Not because David Benavidez is not that different dude. He's a different breed. But that war, what I can see that fight turning into, man, you're going to have to pull out some fire magic to beat that. Even at 42, 43 years old. That is the only reason why I am hesitant for Benavidez to fight Bivol. I still need to see it. But if I'm telling you right now, if that fight does get announced after Anthony Yard, I'm gonna be over the moon for it. And I'm gonna also be petrified. I'm gonna be petrified. Because this is the one situation where power does matter. It's crazy to say. It's the one situation where power does indeed matter a ton. It's not the end-all be-all. No, it ain't. But brother, it's one of the biggest differentiating factors. That simplistic destruction, you think I'm talking about it just as a moniker. No, I'm not. That simplistic style of the simplest way to point A to point B is a straight line. I don't do nothing major. I don't do nothing flashy. I just straight up 1-2, 1-2, hook, slight slip, uppercut, hook, all with just with lackadaisical ease. And you're cut up and bruised from the face down. And you can't stop even blocking it. You can't stop what happened. You can't. You can't do a doggone thing against it. Bivol won the second time, but he had to push back Arthur Benavidez and tried, and even then, he wasn't able to successfully do it for the whole time. Because Arthur's just that type of Terminator. I know Benavidez can do the same thing, but it's just the willingness, and we're gonna break this down later. The willingness of Benavidez to want to go to war against Arthur Benavidez specifically, I'm concerned with. Bivol boxed and brawled with him and finally found the right balance. That's been the only way you've been able to beat this brother. Yard tried to brawl with Arthur, put up a good fight, got knocked out. So did 20 other people. Bivol was getting ready to get knocked down in the first fight. He was close to getting put down in that first fight too. And almost got knocked in the second fight and got knocked in the second fight as well. This man is either put down or hurt every opponent he's faced off against. All but one have survived, and that's Bivol. All but one have beat him, and that's Bivol. But nobody has came out that fight and said that they haven't been hurt. They all been hurt. Benavidez is going to take Arthur Benavidez on. He's going to fight him in the most ruthless way possible. And it's going to be, forget distance management. Forget trying to use my jab and all that stuff. He'll still do it. But by round 3, it's going to quickly devolve into, okay, we here now. I'm not moving. You ain't moving. I'm not backing up. You don't want to back up. Has anybody seen that? Has anybody watched Baki? The anime Baki? Where it's like Baki the Grappler or Baki Hanma, which is a continuation. Essentially, it's a kid, right, whose dad like gave him up and said, hey, told the mother, train him to be good enough to beat me. And I'm going to leave you to it. Yujiro Hama is the guy's name. Strongest man on earth in the show. The whole show is predicated on everybody walking down the street is a normal person. Except for the people that aren't normal. They're not superheroes. They ain't got no extensive powers. They just all love to fight. They just want to fight. And guess what? They're 8 feet tall, built like a bodybuilder, but they got the elasticity of a gymnast. Faster than a speeding bullet, but they ain't got no powers but their own ability and will. That's nothing else. And these folks, at the drop of a hat, will just host their arms up like this. Let's go. And then boom. No words, no exchanges, no quips, no thwips, nothing but just straight up, hey, you bump into me? You want to go? We got an arena right here. Let's go. Nobody's around. Let's fight. In the street, it's time to fight. In a restaurant, it's time to fight. You are in the bathroom, it's time to fight. That's it. I will jump you. I will stab you. I will sucker punch. I'll hit you in the back of the head. I will take you out when you are sleeping. It is time to fight. That's it. You better be ready. Because forget on site. If I know you exist, I'm coming to get you. That's it. That's literally what it is. Somebody will walk into the city and they'll just be like, oh, who the word? And ain't like they got some special power. It ain't like they got some special aura. It's just straight up, yo, you in a city full of menaces. The second a new menace gets on the scene, they ain't even done nothing. They just show up. Everybody else in that same city all of a sudden looks to the sky. Somebody's here. We got a challenge. And the people walking into the city, guess what? They know, hey, there's some people here. I got some challenges. I don't know when it's going to happen. But guess what, brother? I don't know who these people are. I ain't never seen them in my life. But when I do see them, I will know. That's it. When I've heard the names, I ain't seen the faces, I ain't seen them fight. I just know rumors and that's it. But the second I see them, I'll just know. And okay, we're dropping shirts. We're taking off bags. It's time to rumble. Women and children, if you are a bystander, get out the way. Or we'll find a way to get out the way. Or shoot, we'll fight regardless. Just because. But we're going. We're fighting. We're going. Somebody is not getting up or somebody's going to die. Plain and simple. If you don't die, you get sent back to wherever you came from, forever scarred. Period. Knocked out and left in the same place you were the next morning. Ain't no ambulance. Ain't nobody coming to help you. You just got to wake up and say, all right, man, I got beat. How do I run this back? That's it. That's it. That's literally the whole thing. That is the entire show in a nutshell. Summary of Baki, of Baki the Grappler. Watch it if you ever can. It's on Netflix. It goes Baki the Grappler, then it goes Baki, then it goes Baki Hanma. That's the order in which you watch the series. You're going to have to find it somewhere off on one of these sites to watch the original show. Came out in the 90s. That was a continuation that came through on Netflix. Regardless of which, that is exactly what you're going to see if David Benavidez and Artur Beterbiev fight against each other. It's going to be like that. There's no words. There's no talking. There's pomp and circumstance, yeah. But from the sense of once they get in the ring, you're going to get 2 rounds of actual boxing. And it's going to be a straight up brawl from round 3 on. No ground given. No moving backwards. Even when they're circling each other, nobody's able to walk each other down. They're just in a perpetual same distance of I can touch you and hurt you, and that's it. And that war is one war I have never seen anybody get the better of Artur Beterbiev with. Bevo did, but he balanced out boxing and brawling, but he wasn't staying in there. Benavidez is going to stay there. Boy, Benavidez ain't getting out. Benavidez is not getting out like Bivol. Bivol would throw the combinations, throw 5, and then get out of dodge. Benavidez ain't doing that. That brother's staying right there. He scores, he's staying. He'll block, but he ain't moving backwards. And in range with Artur Beterbiev in the pocket for 12 rounds, but I've never seen him lose that fight. That's where, whoo! I can't wait, but boy, it's concerning. That's concerning. I'm not gonna lie. That is concerning. Let me see. Milan. Is it Jovanic? Or is it Jovanic? Milan Jovanic? I think that's how you say your name. If I'm saying it wrong, excuse me. But please say you tuning into the show. Thank you for tuning in. I'm so happy that you with us on today. Appreciate you. Let me see what you got to say on the matter. It's a championship round, so you can talk about whatever you want to discuss in the world of boxing and or beyond. Whether it's sports, NFL, NBA, movies, anime, TV, video games, all that stuff. Hey, feel free. And also, if you want to support the channel and you like what you're hearing, hey, we got Cash App, we got PayPal, links down below in the description. If you would like to come and support the channel, we can make it happen. Absolutely. And hey, I'm not gonna lie, I could use some dough right now. But either way, I got a couple video games I'm trying to buy, so I would like that. I would like to have some extra dough, if you know what I'm saying. Oh man, oh shoot. Well, look, I digress. Just having some fun. Let me see what you got to say. Benavidez is a weight bully, and so at 175, I don't think he is. At 175. You had an argument for that at 160. You did, but even if we can say that, then we also got to call, Shiraz a weight bully, because he's showing up ain't coming into the weight at straight up 168. That frame. That body, with that power. Devin Haney, we also got to call a weight bully. Shoot. Dare I say Sebastian Fundora at 6'5", at 154? When you see him the day of weigh-in and the day of the fight, all of a sudden this brother's fueled out like something serious. He definitely ain't. I'm not saying he's big. For instance, I'm not saying he's no pushing 200, but he definitely ain't 158 by the time that fight happens. And again, I understand weight bully is a claim that gets thrown around a lot, and it is valid to some degree. And that's why I've always said I want fighters fighting closer to their natural walk around weight. It should be the case. So that one, is better for the fighter's health, and two, you make it so that it's on a more fair and even playing field. Because some people look good at smaller divisions, but when they move up, all of a sudden, they ain't the same. They ain't the same at all. Because now, at your level, you're different. Devin Haney, physicality. When somebody's able to match you, you can't box the way that you've been boxing all the time. You just can't. He hasn't been able to. That's why I'm so interested. That's why I'm so interested with this fight with Brian Norman Jr. But at this weight, Benavidez is not a weight bully. No, sir. No, sir. If anything, he's rocked more. He's been rocked more times than he's rocked people. Because everybody up at this weight class can hurt him. They can't. Everybody at this weight class can hurt him. Crazy enough. But it's the fact that he's been hurt. He hasn't been hurt because he's been able to be so defensively sound, as well as still offensively retaining everything. That makes him so incredible. So I don't think he's a weight bully. Not at 175. I don't think he's a weight bully. Let me see. Baki will be coming out with a new season. Oh, they are. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on.
Hey, look
Wait.
at us. We got some problems here.
Wait. Are they bringing out the is it Mishimoto, the samurai dude? Is he coming this season to Baki? I'm sorry. I think I'm somewhat familiar with the manga, because they just had Pickle, and now they bring. Okay, yeah. I think they got to be doing. Is it Mushimoto? Morimoto? What was his name? It started with the M, but whatever the samurai guy is, that is like of the tier list of Baki characters as a whole. It is Yujiro Hanma, or rather, excuse me, potentially his father, who's dead now. Yujiro Hanma right now is at the top, and then it's the samurai Morimoto. It's I think his name is Morimoto. It's Morimoto and it's Hanma. Top two, brother. Oh my gosh. This it's about to get wicked. Oh, it's about to get wicked. It's about to get wicked. It's about to get wicked. And I can't wait. Oh, I can't wait. Also, I hate the fact what they did to Muhammad Ali Jr. I'm not going to lie. They could have made him not just a recurring character, but an eternal rival. If he didn't get, and even with him getting beat like he did against Baki, all they had to do was bring him back, go through the redemption story. Okay, you get what it means to fight for real. How you gonna respond? Because your father could hang with it. Muhammad Ali, yeah, Ali's in the show. Muhammad Ali got got Hanma's respect. Your father got my dad's respect, and my dad got the government literally bending to his will, just because they can't kill him without killing the rest of America if they so tried, or committing acts of war crimes. Your father got my respect because of a fighter and a man. He could do that same thing if they just went about building him back up, going through the ringer now, training with some people, potentially taking off the gloves, going straight hand wraps, boxing around the city, training with Retsu, all this stuff, and then turning into, okay, hey, let's rematch. Boom, I got my get back. Now we 1-1. What you gonna do? Yeah, it could have been a perfect story. Could have been a perfect story. I hate that they didn't do it. Oh, that's frustrating. That is frustrating. But let me keep on reading. Before I go into my anime tangent, I want to make sure I catch everybody. Let me see. Milan, his framework is cruiserweight, even heavyweight, but his power is middleweight. It doesn't transfer. We saw that with Gvozdyk. He couldn't hurt anybody. He hurt everybody at super middleweight. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Mind you, Canelo was putting people out at 160. Then he put out Plant, and then he put out nobody else. He knocked him down. but he couldn't knock him out. Now, yes, the power at 160, at 175 ain't been the same, but the production and the performances have been some of the best of his entire career. It is the fact that Benavidez doesn't need power to be as dominant as he's been. And that's what's been so incredible. Also, Greenhill, thank you. Yeah, it is the Samurai. Okay, I appreciate it. We got confirmed. It's the Samurai. It's this next season about to be a problem. This next season about to be, it's about to be a problem. It's about to be a real problem. I can't wait for this. But Benavidez, because he doesn't need power to still be as dominant. Mind you, he didn't hurt Gabasti, but he did whatever he wanted to with him. He did hurt. It wasn't as severe, but he did get to David Morrell and had that man shelling up for the better part of 4 rounds in the fight. As the fight got closer and closer to being an end, because Morrell couldn't do anything with him. And even if he didn't hurt him flush, guess what? He was doing whatever he wanted to with him. Did the Ali shuffle in the ring with that brother. And then threw a jab. Because he was like, there's nothing Morrell can do. And we saw Morrell get knocked down in the next fight against, what was his name? I think it was the Russian brother. What was his name? Shoot. We had talked about him. Built like an Adonis. Built like a clone of Artur Beterbiev. Imam Kavat. That's who it was. We saw him get knocked down by Imam Kavat. And Kavat should have, honestly, I thought he should have won that fight. I thought Kavat should have won that fight. Well, at least a draw. I did not expect it all. Morrell to take that win. I don't think he deserved that win. I do not think he deserved that win. But his power at this weight class is not like that. It just isn't. But the skills are indeed better than everybody else in the world of 175 right now. It's the truth. It's better than a lot of people at 168 right now. If we're being completely honest, you take this David Benavidez and you put it at 168, he cleans out the whole division. Potentially outside of Terrence Crawford. He does. For my money, outside of Crawford, I'm still dangerous on people, and there's a reason why there's a lot of skepticism on whether or not Crawford should fight Benavidez, because Benavidez, from a height perspective, that's again, he's built like a light heavyweight or cruiserweight. You're right, and at that weight class, he got enough pop. But them skills, outside of Crawford right now, I'd probably take him over everybody else. Because he's that good. He cleans out that division easier than he already did with the skills he's got right now. For me, he's been able to do this without the ability to have the same dominating, face-breaking power. Or bludgeoning force. That's what we call it. You got one-hit quitter. You got night type of power. Sandman type power. You touch them and they're going down. Or you got bludgeoning power. Call it with Errol Spence. We call that with Roberto Duran. Even though Duran had both Sandman and just straight up bludgeoning power. Could tap you and you go down, or just straight up break you down with terrifying power. Benavidez got bludgeoning power. He will change your facial construction and rip you asunder body and head to where you just quit. Or you get stopped. And he can do it for 12 rounds. He said, though the damage ain't the same, the production is still the same. In fact, it's more refined. That's what makes it so impressive. But let me see. No, it's the opposite. Morrell hurt Benavidez a few times in the fight, and he threw everything on Morrell. Was never in trouble. You're right, Morrell didn't rock him. Once was with a counter shot, and the other one was after the bell. And I've acknowledged that multiple times. I said that he made Morrell shell up because, again, not necessarily that he hurt him, but because there was nothing that he could do, and it was an overwhelming volume that he couldn't do anything. He couldn't slip out the way. He couldn't parry the shots. all he could do was shell up and try to take the onslaught. Yes, he wasn't hurt, but he was dominated as if he was hurt because he couldn't do anything. We remember that fight. Morrell hurt him twice. The only 2 times he landed a clean shot. When Benavidez wasn't ready, he rocked. And it was only really 1 time. The other time was again after the bell with a dirty shot. But beyond that, Morrell didn't do anything with him. And Benavidez, while he didn't necessarily hurt Morrell severely, Morrell was only recourse in that fight once round 6 came around was just shell up. Because he couldn't stop what Benavidez wanted to do, nor what he was doing. It wasn't effective. So he dominated it as if he was hurt. Because he got relegated to just going to the corner, sitting on the ropes. 1 counter sporadically and then going back to this because he was getting pieced up. Even though it wasn't hurting him, guess what? He wasn't able to stop it. And he couldn't risk trying to trade against it lest he got caught flush with a shot that would actually hurt him. Because he was too overwhelming. That was the beauty of that performance. He did it with boxing, volume, precision, and defense without the need of power. And he dominated him the same way that he dominated Boo Andre, they dominated Kenneth Plant, they dominated David Lemieux, that he went through the whole of 168. That's what made it so impressive. Let me see. No, he is not that good. He's bigger than everybody else. He was a cruiserweight. If he goes to cruiserweight, he'll be in serious trouble. In heavyweight, he has no chance. Now, I agree with you on heavyweight. I don't think he's going up there. If he goes up, if he went up to heavyweight, that my gosh, I'd say, hey, stop. I'd be the first to say stop. Cruiserweight is the max limit. And I've even said, even that's a step too far, but even still, he is that good. Let me be clear. He is that good. Because David Morrell was seen, even at 168, as a legitimate physical specimen that could take and hurt and stop whatever Benavidez wanted to do. Just like he was in conversation with Canelo. Same thing. Benavidez fought him when it was said that Benavidez was ducking Morrell. Don't forget that. And he did what he did to him. Gvozdyk was a former champion. Gvozdyk went 12 rounds with Artur Beterbiev. Yes, it was off a layoff, but he was still. Gvozdyk was the same size, if not bigger, than the likes of David Benavidez on the night of the fight. And if Benavidez was bigger, it was by like an inch. And we saw what Benavidez was able to do. And he was still getting caught. And he had to, and on the fly, he got defensively sound and started doing better stuff. And he got winded. Because all that extra weight he was carrying at 175, he wasn't used to fighting with it. And you saw him get gassed and get tired. David Morrell, that didn't happen. Same consistency for 12 rounds. And Morrell was indeed supposed to be and was seen as physically able to stop David Benavidez, especially at 175, when he didn't have the restraint of 168. After he had outgrown 168, just like with David Benavidez. After they had both debuted at 168 with 1 fight apiece, relatively close to each other. So around the same time, they both blossomed at the division. Yeah, and he put him out. And Morrell got an extensive amateur background record. So it ain't like he's just an unknown. He got 11 to 16 fights because he's been in the amateurs for so long, dominating. That's why he was already, when he got to the pros, an immediate contender. Because he was already seen as, hey, you got this much work, you got this much work already under your belt. Just like with Madrimov. Madrimov won the championship in 10 fights. Why? Because of the fact this man was indeed, had 100 or so amateur fights. Multiple titles, Golden Gloves, I think that he won something along those lines. Whatever those awards were. And then boom. Nine times. He fought in the pros before he got a shot at the title. Wrote him off one by one, plain and simple, done. And then won the belt. It was impressive. Because he had a reputation before. So did Morrell. And I think, it wasn't 16 fights, it was 9 fights. My apologies. 9 fights in the pros. And he was already getting talked about with Canelo. So he is that good. He is that good. And if anything, Dave Morrell was winning because of some of the same stuff that you say about Dave Benavidez. Too big, too athletic, too strong, too long. Everybody, you just can't do nothing with the brother. Most of the people at 168. Which further delved into why that fight with David Morrell was such a big instance. Because it was somebody that we thought, okay, he's got youth, he's got experience, he's got pedigree, and he's been in talks with the same people that Benavidez has been talked to from a talent perspective, and he is more athletic seemingly, and he is looked to be more stronger and got a punch that can put him out. He can do what everybody else hasn't been able to do to Dave Benavidez. And guess what? He couldn't. To some point in time, we gotta stop saying somebody ain't as good. Now, I'm not saying Crawford isn't as good because he beat Canelo. Okay, Canelo was 36 years old. Crawford was 38. Crawford should have already been retired, we're being completely honest. At this stage in his career, people would assume he should be retired. It's like Usyk, we should assume should have been retired by now. Why? Because he's 38 years old. He shouldn't have won that fight, but he did in terms of Crawford. Because he's just that good. Benavidez, we're not using weight bully. We ain't using the issues of this man is only good because of his height. Because he's now fought people that are his size, and he's done the same stuff that he's done to people that were smaller than him. Same stuff. The only difference is that he ain't putting them down. But everything else is literally exactly the same. And we have attested to he's a better fighter than he ever was at 168 now because of this change in guard of competition and stature to allow him to beat them the same way they was beating everybody else at 168. So I don't know what else you can really say. You can't say he isn't the third best light heavyweight in the world. You can't say him against Bivol is not a fight that is a dangerous fight for Benavidez. You can't say him versus Artur Beterbiev is not a dangerous fight for Benavidez. You can't. You'd be a fool if you said that. Because then you'll be saying that, oh, they aren't really, he doesn't really belong there. He's just big enough to compete. But he has separated himself from everybody else in the division outside of those two. And if it was really the truth that he was just bigger than everybody else, so he should be able to succeed, then the same thing should have applied to David Morrell when he fought against Imam Kavat. But look what happened. He won a fight he shouldn't have won, and he got put down. Wow. Almost got put to sleep. And he should have lost that fight. But he was as big as David Benavidez. He has more pop at this division than David Benavidez. He's more athletically gifted, perceived to be, than David Benavidez. And look at what happened. With somebody that was smaller than him, somebody that was seen as not as experienced, somebody he should be able to handle, didn't do it. That logic can apply to somebody who's actually, that logic cannot apply to somebody who's actually worth his weight in salt. Benavidez is worth his weight in salt. And he showed it. Now more than ever. So there's nothing else we can really say. He's the mandatory for Bivol's title. He is the WBA champion. Because Bivol didn't fight him after he earned the shot when he beat David Morrell. So I don't know what else you can really say. What else does he need to do? What else? When will he be proven to you? Because at some point in time, you got to say this brother's beating somebody. You got to say he's beating somebody. At some point in time, we got to say he's done. It can't be that he's done nothing forever, because it's the same thing with Crawford. Is it going to take a Canelo type opponent for people to say that, yeah, Benavidez has arrived now? Is that what it's going to take for you to say that he's arrived? That, yeah, he's real? When the rest of the body of work all of a sudden still means nothing because everybody's a bum? Some of those same people Canelo beat, were they a bum when Canelo beat him too? Huh? Were they a bum when Canelo beat him? Was Imam Kavat's performance a bum performance when he fought against David Morrell, even though he took him down and should have won that fight? Does Gvozdyc's pedigree mean nothing now? Is the prospect, if he beats Bivol, is that going to be seen as, he was just too big? That's the only reason why he won? Is that going to be it? If he beats Archie Benavidez, is that going to be the same conversation? He's just too big? He's a weight bully? Even though Benavidez, one of the strongest pound-for-pound fighters in the world, could easily knock out a heavyweight, a cruiserweight, and any light heavyweight in the world. Highest knockout ratio in boxing right now. Undefeated but by one man, has hurt every man that he's walked down, has knocked out everybody except for one person. What else is there for him to prove to you that he belongs in these types of talks and conversations? I just don't understand. Because it's the same song and dance with Crawford. It's the same song and dance with Inoue. It's the same song and dance with a bunch of fighters that are doing stuff that, you ain't proving nothing. Well, who the world is it that I got to prove to when these people did have credentials? This brother had a belt. And you saying he ain't worth nothing? What then? There were detractors of Usyk when he beat Anthony Joshua twice in a row. Why? You ain't fought Deontay Wilder. What sense does that make? This type of rhetoric is bad because it keeps moving the goalposts every time. We can say Devin Haney is a weight bully, but guess what? He proved his worth when he beat who? Lomachenko. Even if you feel that he lost that fight, guess what? You can't say that buddy can't scrap, because he went in a fight of the year contender with one of the best fighters in the world at that point in time. Arguably top 3. And he's been more accomplished than anybody else in the sport. He's taken on Ryan Garcia, Lomachenko, was going to fight Teofimo Lopez, was going to fight Boots Ennis before he backed out. Now is fighting Brian Owen Jr. Fought Ryan Garcia on PEDs. He ain't ducked nobody. He literally hasn't ducked anybody. But people at times will still detract that, yeah, he ain't worth nothing, which is ridiculous. You can say that he ain't the same. You can say that he will lose that fight with Brian Norman. That's perfectly fine. I think he's going to lose to Brian Norman. That don't mean that I'm going to say this brother ain't worth nothing, that he ain't proven, that he ain't tested. Regardless of what I have pointed out with my flaws about Devin Haney, he's done the work. And if you do the work, you get rewarded. If you do the work, you get rewarded. Benavidez has done the work and he should be able to get rewarded. That's the thing. That's the thing. We keep it simple. We keep it simple. Sorry if I'm a big fan of Benavidez. I would love for him to be number 1 for a very long time, but I wouldn't want to see him against Apatai. That Aussie. No, he can't. And here's the thing. I'm not arguing with anybody. I'm more so. We've had past not us specifically, but there have been past conversations with other people that have detracted against the likes of David Benavidez and other fighters because they either haven't done something or they don't feel that the people that he's done it against is worth anything. Either A, because they don't know who the people are, or B, they're being willfully ignorant of the people that he fought, genuinely attempting to downplay who they are. for the sake of their own argument. Now, I'm not saying you're doing it. No, and I'm not arguing with you. But this conversation led to a broader scope to uncover talking points that people bring up about David Benavidez when it comes to what his ability is as a fighter and what his weight in gold is. And it shouldn't be the case with somebody who has actually done the deserved work to be where he is right now and should be seen as even higher up. But again, the clashing of eras with Canelo, coupled with the downplaying of his career, coupled with the claims of weight bullying, and even after it's been proven that, yeah, he's just been like that when he fought people his size, still is seen as nothing. That hurts the legacy of the sport and of the man. And even when they do something great, all of a sudden, with how you detracted against them, you didn't have to say that that other person that they beat is nothing or wasn't ever that great. Because how could somebody with all these other caveats that made them good, when faced off against somebody that beats all them caveats, still lose to them without said caveats that made them great? Well, they must not be that good, because somebody who's really good would have been able to stop this false great fighter. Again, not saying that's what you're saying, but I'm saying that it's the cycle of conversation that inevitably always circles back to that one point. And we can't have Bivol and Benavidez are much smaller than him. Besides weight, there should be a height division. Besides weight, there should be a height division. Also, it's a very, I mean, yeah, Tommy Hearns was 6'1". Tommy Hearns was 6'1". Sebastian Fundora is 6'5". You got, now Canelo's fought people the size of Benavidez before, and he took him out. We've seen Mike Tyson, who's fought in the beginning of the Giants era in heavyweight, of the last big golden era in boxing. When he was him, Evander Holyfield, Leonard Lewis, Razor Ruddock, Larry Holmes later in his career, Ray Mercer, George Foreman on the comeback trail, Michael Moore, Tommy Morrison. Who was the other one? Yeah, there's one more. David Tua. All those people, and a couple more that I missed. That last good to great era in boxing. He fought smaller person, beating them all. Height has never been the only defining factor. It is an advantage that you have. Yes, you should use it. But it does not guarantee that you're great, because if that was the case, it would only be that big fighters are the only good fighters in the world. That's not the case. Tank should not exist if that's the case. Barrios should be ranked. Pacquiao shouldn't even be competitive against Barrios. Ryan Garcia should be killing people in the ring. Devin Haney should be nigh untouchable. Tyson Fury should have never lost it all, if that's the case. But because we know that height is not the only thing, and we laud all-time greats, because even if they're tall, because guess what? They were just that good. That means that height is a factor that can make you hard to beat, but it doesn't make you impossible. And a great fighter is just a great fighter, period. Because you're born with what you got. You got to use what you got. And if you can make it great, guess what? You can be hard to beat. And that's just what Benavidez is. He just straight up hard to beat. Benavidez, also Martin Hernandez, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show. So glad you're with us on today. Benavidez does not pick Benavidez does not pick fights. He fights everybody, and he does. Like I said, he has a goal, and the way he's been going out about his career, he fights the next best available guy, if the best guy ain't available. Plain and simple. He thought he was going to get a shot with Bivol after fighting David Morrell, who was a threat. Guess what he did afterwards? He fought, now he's fighting Anthony Yarde. Brother who fought against the likes of Archie Benavidez, who's fought Lyndon Arthur and beat him. Still a very dangerous threat in the world of light heavyweight, who's taken some of the best light heavyweights in the world the distance, almost like when he did with Archie Benavidez. So it's like, hey, this is a dangerous test. He could lose this fight. Understand it. Benavidez could lose this fight against Anthony Hart. Yes, he can. We can talk about the stagnation of Anthony Hart as a developing fighter. We can talk about how at times he has not improved on some skill sets that he should have had. We can talk about the detracting nature of that fight with Lyndon Arthur that was not nearly as impressive as it should have been for somebody where he is as a fighter in his career. But we can say all that and still understand this is a fight that is dangerous for the likes of Benavidez. And it can go wrong and it can derail everything that we're saying about Benavidez at the drop of a hat. It really can. It really can. Which is why this is a great test, not just for the Bivol or Beterbiev, but for the greater landscape of 175 and beyond. He handles that. It's a great answer to where he could handle up there. And again, even without him being up at cruiserweight, if he got up to cruiserweight, though I think he shouldn't go there, with how he is right now, if it isn't Jaya Patai, if it isn't Zerto Ramirez, if it isn't Badu Jack, I can see him beating just about everybody else in that division outside of those 2 and or 3, depending on how Badu Jack looks against Jaya Patai if that fight takes place on January 31st. That's what I could see. Even right now, with all of my concerns all valid and apparent. Because he's just that good. It's beyond height. It's beyond reach. It's beyond weight. He has a skill set that nobody else at this division except for 2 people, and at the other divisions except for, again, 2 people, have to that degree. Not the motor, not the technique, not the adaptability, not the defense. Showing up, not the defense. A lot of them, not the defense. Hand speed, distance management, use of the jab, defense as a whole, and offense as a whole. Ain't many. Ain't many. He can do it. So I'm telling you, he's a bad brother for a reason. Beyond just his ability to be a 8 to 10 punch menace. This man, he's a different breed. He's one of my favorite fighters. Even if he wasn't, I would not be saying this if it wasn't true. This man is something special. That regardless of my concerns about cruiserweight or the upper echelon of light heavyweight, he can beat them. Be clear, he can beat them. He can beat them. And if he does go and beat the likes of light heavyweight, Bivol and Beterbiev, move up to cruiserweight and become undisputed there if he so chooses, guess what? All of a sudden, the world of heavyweight might not be as grandiose as we may expect it to be. It could be. Because we were already saying that light heavyweight might be too much. And look at what's going on. And we just saw what Terrence Crawford did with skills alone. Going up against it and being, crazily enough, built for the size of super middleweight. We saw what he just did to Canelo. That's opened the door to anything. Anything is possible when it comes to the world of what can be achieved when great fighters do great things. I'm not saying Benavidez is Terrence Crawford, but I'm saying he's of that ilk. He's of that ilk. And he knows it. That's what's so special. He knows he's like that. He knows he's like that. And he's watching the greats in other divisions. In a way. Crawford, Usyk, even Canelo, especially in the early stages. And he sees, okay, we saw their path to victory. And we saw their path to greatness. And we saw what it took. I know I can get there. And I know I can do what they did. which is why I'm already thinking ahead. I'll move up to cruiserweight eventually, and we'll get them done too. And from there, who knows? Whether you think it's smart or not, he wouldn't be him and Crawford in a similar vein. They acknowledge their weaknesses and they tell you their strengths because they know you can't stop. That's how good they are. That's how dominant they are. That's how confident they are. They acknowledge what they can't do, and they will tell you what they can do because they know you can't stop it. And nobody else can either. That's why he's thinking like he's thinking. It's bigger than just grandiose opportunities. It's a real sentiment of, it's beyond just delusion. It's beyond just thinking I got it in the bag. He knows he can do it. And my gosh, that's so exciting. Because if he can believe it, I can too. Regardless of my doubts. And hey, I ain't been wrong since. He ain't been wrong since. I'm not saying it's going to be wrong. He ain't going to be right forever. It's going to be hard pressed to pick against him. It's going to be hard pressed to pick against that brother. I guarantee you that. So, but again, is there anything else anybody wants to say in the world of this show? Again, last call. The championship, we are 3 hours. I did not expect this to go this long. We're going to dunk on 3 hours, 30 minutes. Is there anything else anybody wants to say? Last call for topics of conversation, whatever it may be. Questions, comments, concerns, debates, all that stuff. Whatever you wanted to discuss, we can discuss it right here, right now, for you all, for the championship rounds. The whole show has been a championship round tenure. And hey, if you're liking what you're hearing, hopefully you leave a like on the channel. If you want to keep on supporting the channel, hey, shameless plug, gotta do it because we ain't got monetization yet. We got Cash App and PayPal, links down below in the description. If you'd like to support, whatever you can give will mean the world to me and help invest back into the show to make it bigger and better for you all to enjoy listening and watching as well. But is there anything else anybody wants to say? Any other topics of conversation? Is there any other breaking news that's happening that I might have missed? Let me check real quick to make sure we don't end the show off before us saying something that needs to be said in regards to the world of boxing and beyond. I'm doing a quick check. I'm trying, let me see. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, dang, I forgot the P. Diddy case. The P. Diddy case was, I done forgot about that. My gosh. Hold on, shoot, I want to see what, wait, did they call the sentence? Is the sentence done? Wait, hold on. Is he guilty? It's okay, so it's still going on. It's still live. Wait, hold on, wait a minute. No, we know we don't cover this. I'm looking up the updates right now. In the P. Diddy case that's transpiring, I know it's a crazy thing. He had not testified during his federal trial. Sean Constable just addressed the court Friday during the sentencing hearing for his conviction and prostitution-related charges. Mr. Merkel spoke at the hours of presentation by his lawyers and federal prosecutors. Prosecutors contended Holmes, 55, spent a decade in prison. His defense lawyers denied sentencing arguments. Prosecutors pressing for a sentence of more than 11 years. Addressing the judge in the hearing, testimony, the videos got showed, early rulings, the charges. Yeah, we know the charges. Has he been sentenced yet? Or is he just facing sentencing right now? I'm assuming he has to come to a full-blown verdict at this point in time. But I'm going to keep updating on this. My gosh. It's did not expect to have this be a talking point on the show. But good gosh, we got a lot of people coming through. Great show today. Have a great day, champ. Appreciate it, absolutely. Canelo is a bully. Reading the last couple chats. Canelo is a bully. He never could defeat a boxer that moves. And he is way too small for Benavidez. And that fight should never happen. Canelo's a natural middleweight. He just saw flaws. He just saw flaws in light heavyweight. And again, like I said, regardless of which, he's a full-fledged super middleweight now. He ain't moving back down to 168. He's beaten just about outside of Benavidez. He's beating everybody else at 168. So he's been the best 168 pounder. So yeah, I'd say he's a full-fledged middleweight. And height-wise, yeah, he's smaller than Benavidez. But he's been smaller than Callum Smith. He's been smaller than Bivol. He was smaller than Kovalev. He's been smaller than just about everybody else in his career. So that ain't really a difference. We still need to see that fight happen. I want to see that fight happen. Because you saying that he ain't worth their time fighting, and now he is. Got to get it going. But let me see. I really think that Benavidez could beat Beterbiev more clear than Bivol because of the style Benavidez stands in front. And see, crazy enough, I'm vice versa. Like I said before, I think you heard me touch on the whole thing before, but we're thinking on opposite ends of the spectrum. Crazy enough, I'm thinking it's going to be worse for Benavidez. You're thinking it's going to be better because he's right there in front of him. I'm thinking because he's right there in front of him, it's going to be a nightmare to deal with when it comes to Archie Beterbiev fighting against him. Because he don't take much to do the damage that a full flurry of Benavidez punches would do to Beterbiev. He's open to the body, absolutely. But unlike everybody else, that body attack from Archie Beterbiev, buddy, that's going to take effect quick, if you let him touch it. And then if you don't let yourself get tired, boy, don't let him see that the effects are working. Then that upstairs attack then starts. And man, that's a mess. Without moving, that's a mess to deal with. Without moving, that's a mess to deal with. So we're just on two ends of the spectrum on that point. But regardless of which, he can beat both of them. I just want to see him get the opportunities that he deserves. That's my big thing. NBA season starts soon. Will you talk NBA? Oh, yeah, absolutely. We're talking NBA. We're going to be talking NBA once the season starts up again. LeBron going into season 23, potentially his last. Potentially. Most likely it's not. But potentially it's going to be his last year. At least the clock's ticking. It ain't game time. It's getting ready to be retirement time, which is crazy to say. He playing golf and all that stuff. He is more outgoing than ever. Doing streams with other people, getting into the more retirement lifestyle. I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but if you were a hater of LeBron, if you didn't like LeBron, you can't stand the brother, put that aside for these next seasons or two. Because man, once he goes away, I'm telling you, I'm glad I sat back and enjoyed him. However long he's going to stay, however long he's been playing. Because once he goes, we feeling it. We feeling it. Everybody's saying, hey, there's something in the air. We concerned. And I say we because as a fandom, everybody who says something against him or with him, they understand, hey, but when this man leaves this game, it's going to be a hole that might not be able to be filled. We've been trying to find somebody to fill them same shoes, and they ain't been able to do it. We're trying to crown somebody now as the face of the sport and the best player, and it's still, the best player is Jokic or Giannis at this point in time. But in terms of embodying the sport, ain't nobody doing it more than LeBron. Put that aside and enjoy this year. And next year, Lord willing, it's next year. Because it's about to be it. Coupled with that, you got the 76ers dealing with a bunch of injuries and people coming back. Joel Embiid losing weight to potentially be healthy for the rest of the season. Anthony Edwards looking like he's going to take the biggest leap that we've seen all year long. The Celtics going through a blow-up season where Jason Tatum might not be able to play, but even still, he could come back by the time potentially the end of the year comes around with how he's progressing with the world. Oh, I know what it is. I shaved. I know it. I shaved my mustache, and now I got to make sure I moisturize. No wonder I'm feeling something like, what's the word? I ain't got crust. I ain't doing that crust thing. Look, I try to be clean. I ain't got that crust up on the side of my mouth. I ain't doing that. I ain't doing it. I may have some chapped lips. That's just because I need to make sure I need to revitalize with some chapstick. But in terms of this stuff, I ain't got that. Nah. I keep myself in check. But I think I trimmed my mustache, and I forgot to moisturize. Boy, it's starting to pinch and pry, and that I don't feel good. But in regards to which, Anthony Edwards taking a big leak. Boston Celtics going down. Al Horford now on the Warriors with the likes of Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry with Seth Curry. Though I don't think Steph Curry's gonna make much of a difference. This is gonna be the first time that Steph Curry has played with a stretch big that is available for the whole of the year, outside of DeMarcus Cousins, who got injured the first 13 games of the season. And I'm sad he got injured, but boy, I'm glad that didn't work out, because that duo, nobody was beating that team. Nobody was beating that team. With KD, Clay, Steph, Draymond, Sean Livingston, Andre Iguodala, and Boogie Cousins as the starting center off the backs of his days in New Orleans, when he was still the best center in the game. Nah, ridiculous. Or at least top 3 with injury. Assuming he was coming back healthy. He was looking like it when he came back. So that was bad. But this is going to be interesting to see how that works out and plays. And it's going to be small ball. They can play small now with him down low. With Kevin Looney, I think Kevin Looney's still there. I think he's still there. So he still got a big man as a backup. So it's going to be interesting. I don't think they're going to make a whole bunch of noise, but it's still going to be interesting. You got stories all across the way. Will Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan actually work as a duo together? De'Aaron Fox and Wembanyama off the backs of his essentially side quest adventure, training with Shaolin monks, training with Hakeem Olajuwon and Kevin Garnett, all in the span of 6 months. But he's about to average 30, 20, and 10. He's about to win Defensive Player of the Year. He's about to win MVP. He's about to win Most Improved. He's about to win All-Star MVP. And he's about to win Finals MVP if they get to the finals. This man's about to be a menace.
Hey,
like, brother,
we got some problems here.
what in the world? Oh, and don't forget, he grew an inch. He's no longer 7'4". He's 7'5". He's no longer 7'4". He grew an inch over the summer. He's now 7'5" with that type of handle. Oh my gosh. What in the world is this going to be? Oh, shoot. Spurs about to be nasty. Nasty. About to be nasty. And they kept their core. Yeah, West about to be scary. You got MPJ, Michael Porter Jr. on Michael Porter Jr. on Brooklyn. You got the likes of doggone everybody making Charlie Wilson, You Light My Fire Edward edits. The unction going down in Brooklyn. You got Dame back in Portland. Though he ain't gonna be playing, but I don't think he's gonna be playing. But Dame back in Portland, signing with them. Back to where it all began. There's one other big thing. There's one other big story. Kevin Durant on Houston with Jalen Green and Alperen Sengun with our man Thompson. My gosh, it's about to be insane. Woo! That's about to be wild. That's about to be wild. And in Dallas with AD and Kyrie Irving, with Cooper Flagg, with Derek Lively, who also grew an inch. Like, you got, the West is wide open. Brooklyn's got a chance to win the finals in the Eastern Conference, or at least get to the finals with everybody hurt. Boston out the way. Cleveland might not be able to make the same insane run that they did in the last season. Brooklyn almost getting there. Losing to Indiana. Indiana losing Halliburton for the year, sadly. Trading away Miles Turner. Now led by only Pascal Siakam, and that's it. From the standpoint of they got Nimhard, absolutely, and they got Naismith. Yeah, they do, but the engine that made that thing go ain't there no more. Brother, Knicks got a shot at getting to the finals this year. Crazy enough. Get past the Bucks. Get past Cleveland. That's probably the biggest competition. Bucks, Cleveland, and potentially Philadelphia if Joel Embiid comes back healthy, which again, most likely they won't be the same. And so, not really worried about them. New York, brother, New York might get to the finals this year. New York is about to turn into Gotham City.
Hey, look at this. We got the problems here.
New York's about to turn into Gotham City this year. They got chances everywhere. Everybody's healthy. Everybody came back. And they got a core that's built to run. Oh boy, if they stay healthy this year, if everybody stays healthy in New York this year, they might turn into favorites to get to the finals. And New York is going to turn into Gotham City. You're going to see villains coming out the woodwork every single playoff. You're going to see, if they get to the conference finals, you're going to see this city turn over asunder. They just make it to the finals. Already, cities are going to burn up. They win, New York will not be able to exist. New York won't exist. New York will have a dark, smog-filled cloud of just belligerence, violence, and outright insanity. If anybody's played Arkham Knights from Batman, boy, it's gonna be like that. Just a haze. Just a haze. You're gonna walk into it and you're gonna walk into the city, you don't think it's a comic book. You don't see fires and trash cans. You don't see people in masks running through the streets. You don't see Jalen Brunson jerseys turning into vigils as a dystopian area for their hero. And you're gonna see the jerseys of fallen teams just strewn throughout the whole city. Apartments will just implode. Explosions just happening at will. You'll see the Riddler. You'll see the Joker. You'll see Catwoman. You'll see villains you ain't never even heard of. Quarter owls, all of them just gonna show up. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be insane. Oh, it's gonna be insane. If they pop up and say, I'm from New York and I witnessed the madness last. No, hey, look, you witnessed the madness last year when y'all nearly got there. So you went and think of it. Hey, brother, you better hunker down. I don't care if it's a situation where it's a timely run to the finals, where everybody, the big guns are potentially out the way. Brother, if y'all touch a finals court, and don't let it be a home game with home court advantage in game one, the game won't even be able to start. The refs will have to have security of their own. You're going to see people sneak into the rafters, acting as workers trying to get a seat in the stadium. If they win game one, they will storm the court and probably try to attack the opposing team just because. Don't show up as supporting for the other side. Don't do that. Police will look the other way. I guarantee you. I promise you. They'll look the other way. They'll be like, "See, you should have came around here." Man, yeah, I can't wait for next season. Oh my gosh, I can't wait for next season. It's going to be fun. But again, sadly, we got to end the show. We got to get out of here because it's been almost 4 hours and you all got stuff to do. I got stuff I got to do. And hey, we got to make sure that we get ready for next week as well. Full disclaimer, I'm not going to be able to do the fight on with Jaron Ennis versus Lima because I got business I got to take care of throughout that week and going into that weekend. So I ain't going to be able to see the fight with you all. But I'm going to be able to cover it with you next week. But we're going to be able to talk about it all next week. And then the week after. That's a better way to say it. We're going to talk about it all next week. The week after, we're going to address how the fight went, what goes forward, and all that stuff. But doing a live stream of the fight, not going to be able to do it because we handling business, got stuff I got to take care of on that weekend. So, sadly, won't be able to do it. We're going to be back, and we're going to still do what we do all next week up until Thursday because I got to head out and do my thing on Friday. But again, with all that being said, this has been another episode of The Watch with me, host, Sean Welch. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to the show on today. Thank you to everybody who tuned in and listened. Yes, indeed, we ended this Friday off strong. Yes, sir. It's been great. It's been phenomenal. Again, if you would, leave a like on the stream before you get out of here. Comment your thoughts and opinions on what you liked or didn't like about the channel. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Share the show with everybody you know so we can keep on building up this empire together. Be sure also to hit the notification bell so you know whenever we post right here on YouTube and on every podcasting platform imaginable. Rate us 5 stars on Apple, Spotify, whenever you listen to podcasts. Also, if you want to support the show, we got Cash App and PayPal. Links down below in the description. While we're getting monetization in place, please, if you can support the show, would mean the world to me. Help us to invest back into the show. And hey, put some extra change in my pocket, if you know what I'm saying. So, but it's all well and good. We're going to be back next Tuesday, talking about the world of boxing and beyond, as we always do. So bring your thoughts, bring your conversations, bring your food, and bring your coworkers, bring whoever you with on to for the ride, because they're going to want to see what we got going on right here on this show. And also for our Friday, we got to make sure we do pound for pound. I neglected to do it for the pound for pound chatters of the stream, and we're going to make sure we do it now at number 3 for the pound for pound world of boxing. We got Milan coming in number 3. We got Vaughn Greenhill coming in number 2. And then we got Love King as the pound for pound number 1 chatter for today's stream today. Appreciate it. And rounding out the top 5 was again Bobby and Teddy Burkshot. We appreciate you all tuning in. We appreciate everybody who came in and chatted on the show. But again, Love King, you are indeed the pound for pound number 1 chatter for this show. Take this into next week and take it and see if you can defend your title coming through on when we come back on Thursday or on Tuesday, excuse me, to see if you're going to be pound for pound again. Well, somebody's going to take your belt. Oh, we're going to find out if it takes place, but regardless of which, it's going to be fun. And I can't wait to see it with you all. But again, enjoy your week, enjoy your day. I've been Sean Welch. Y'all have been wonderful. Peace and love. We are out of here. Yes, sir. We are going to see you all on Thursday. Be safe, be blessed. Peace and love. And we out.